Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. And today we're going to take our Air 2000 Tapestry livery A320 NEO for a flight from London Stansted down to Lima Foxtrot Kilo Bravo, which is Bastia in Corsica. Very exciting. We did actually visit Corsica very recently, but we went to a different airport. The reason was we flew in a 757 and I wasn't entirely sure how to fly this approach. Now, I don't know which approach we're going to get, but both of the approaches into this airport are completely spectacular. So I'm really excited to go there. Plus, we'll get to do it in the scenery of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is always a winner in my eyes. So yeah, really excited. We're of course using the livery from Paddy, which is just one of my all-time favorites. As you all know, I talk about it, I think, every single stream. So yeah, really good to see you guys here. Flight time today around about 1 hour 40, so not one of our longest flights. Certainly a bit of a break compared to our last stream where we flew for it was almost 4 hours, wasn't it, in the A321 over the Atlantic, which is great fun. So let's take a quick look at the livery. This has been updated by Paddy kindly for the A32NX fly-by-wire when it became a separate modification. Oh, we're getting a bit of stutter. There we go. Seems to be recovering. So here we are, Oscar Alpha Bravo, the Tapestry livery with the wing decals. The real aircraft never flew with the wing decals, but they were supposed to be on there as part of the concept of this livery. It only existed for a few years before it became the Starfish livery that later became first choice. As you can already see, actually the first choice logo Paddy's included down there below Air 2000 at the front. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. This screams holiday to me. It's also proper 90s bright colours, just sort of just no way to miss it. Concept of having the colours on the wings was that people on the ground would be able to see it flying overhead and know that everyone on this airplane was off on holiday, and then you'd automatically want to go. And it would certainly have that effect on me if I saw one of these. Really nice. There's a few people flying along today, so thank you all for coming along. We're currently all parked up at Stansted. Not heard much from air traffic control, so I suspect we'll be pretty quiet, which should make it a nice and straightforward departure, especially as we all wrestle our way out. The airplane's powered up, but aside from that, it's not. We need to do all of the MCDU load up, but it won't take too long. But like I say, the airplane is powered on. Just while we enjoy that view, jumping into the chat, good to see you all, and thank you for joining us today. Becky Davies, good to see you, first one in today. Thanks for coming along. Chick Point as well, Matthew Dragon, and Fly24. It's been a while. Fly24, the genius behind our channel music that you hear at the beginning and end of all the streams for the last year and a bit now. So thank you for coming along, Fly24. Deep Future, good to see you. Stephen Lee and Dougal McTavish, thanks for coming and moderating. Kai as well, good to see you. We're flying out of Kai's home airport. Excellent. Yeah, it's always nice to visit a community member's home airport. Kai's having trouble with the X-Plane out here. Eastbirds Lee, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Jonathan Gunthauser, good to see you as well. Won't be able to follow the stream. No worries, Jonathan. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Reverse Green Simulations, hello to you. And Alex UK, good to see you. Any chance there could be a flight delay as I'm due to be landing in Ibiza soon? Well, we'll see. You know how long it usually takes me to get going. But that's not the aim today. Today we're going to get in the air relatively quickly. I'm aiming for half an hour for this one. And Dave says, my parents have a strange collection of old salt pepper sachets from airlines and hotels that include one from Air 2000, also a load of Monaco ones. Fantastic, excellent. What a collection. Dougal flew Air 2000 into Tenerife a long time ago. Yeah, the good old days, back when you could go on holiday. So the good old days now count from anywhere up to 2019. Lauren V says there were 2 London Centre controllers. Seems we might be on Unicom. Yep, that seems likely. And Fly24, Air 2000 to Fuerteventura was my first. Yeah, the good times. Joe Vaughan, good to see you. Victor Tango, thanks for coming and moderating as well. Great to see you here. And yeah, apologies if I miss anybody else. But Fly24 enjoying the colours. Excellent. Hotshot, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Nicholas says bonjour since we're going to Corsica. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Tom Wood and Tom Corwine, as Isaac, Ed Haslam, good to see you again. Flying for Fun, Fusion, Joseph Mitchell, Max, great to see you all here. Rakon, Jason, Scorpion, Lufthansa, so many names. So great to see you. Right, let's get going. So I do enjoy the drone. This is a freeware version of Stansted, so I think it's just slightly modified taxiways and ground aprons. Departing runway just over there. I'm not sure which side we're going to take off from today. Now there is something else that I'm quite excited to try out today, which I didn't put into the description, but I have finally bothered to put the Navigraph. We'll go for the wing view to enjoy those colours. We've got the Navigraph toolbar, so this is now built into Flight Simulator, so hopefully there's less chance of me leaving it on the screen. So we'll talk about that and see how it works throughout the stream today. It's my first time trying it. I put it off because it said it's a beta, and I'm nervous of anything like that, as you guys know on the on the channel. I'm all about stability for the streams. So yeah. Right. Let us. Oh, and Jason joining us from Seattle. Excellent. I hope you're doing well in Seattle. I think things are going well in America, it sounds like. Right. Let's go to the MCDU. As I said, the plane's pretty much powered up. So first of all, I'll do the old ACARSy bits. So AOC menu, init pres, and I'm going to do init data request. Good, there we go. Stansted to Lima Foxtrot Kilo Bravo, 1 hour 45 estimated time en route. Fuel on board 9.5. That's all good. We're relatively full today. I think 150 passengers, but nothing too shocking. While I'm here, let's request a METAR, because there's not going to be an ATIS. As we said, there's no air traffic running for Stansted. There is a Gatwick and a London Heathrow, so no. So that's all we're going to need. And then I'll print that out straight away. Do love this feature. So it looks like slightly easterly breeze, unusual for us. If we look at our chart, so that means, yeah, we're going to have to taxi down the long way, so we better get going. Right, so that is that. Then we can go to init, and we'll do init requests. I think, oh, I don't know actually. Now I'm using Navigraph. Yes, we've got the database running with the right dates now. That's pretty good. I hadn't seen that before. Excellent news. Yeah, very good, because I hadn't been using Navigraph to update. I was just using the flight simulator ones. Okay, so there's our init A page. Alternates for Machino again. Jetset 284, Coston X15, cruising at 350. Now I had 370, so I'm not sure where it's got that from. But we shall find out. Wind temperatures. We'll put in an average, won't we? Seems to work best on that. We'll do that on a init B. Right, flight plan page. Departure. So it sounds like we're going to depart from. Hold on, let me rethink that. I'm terrible getting these winds the right way around. Control 5, right. 140. No, so that means we're going to be on 22. Yep. No, that's good. That is good. Yeah, it's talking absolute nonsense. So runway 22. We're supposed to go out via Clacton, and here we go. Without having to bring all the charts up for you, I can go to open charts list for Stansted. And it's all here. This is basically functions exactly like the desktop app which you've seen me using before. And you can actually resize it, which is nice, so I can fit way more on the screen if I need it, when we want to have the entire screen made up of charts. So we are parked on, I believe, 33. We're on 33. I'm pretty sure that'll be fine, won't it? Being pretty sure. And we're going to taxi out and then depart from the runway just here, which is great. Runway 22. Don't need any more charts than that, which is always nice. One chart for parking and departing. So Clacton departures, what have we got? There's the 8 Romeo for 22 and the 4 Sierra. So obviously we're not doing the 4 Sierra. It looks like there's also, I can't see the scroll bar on my screen. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a 1 Echo, which is the RNAV. So shall we do the RNAV departure? Let's do the Clacton 1 Echo. Which doesn't have any warnings, no turns, must be cleared by ATC, that's fine. Clacton 1 Echo, only available on request, aircraft equipped and approved, in accordance with that. Well, this is, you know, our airline, so although it is, I don't know what Air 2000 were approved for, but, oh, no, don't do that. The only thing that makes me nervous of that is if we're going to be using the inbuilt LNAV, as we normally do. No, okay, change of plan. No, we'll go with the 8 Romeo. On the basis that I'm just nervous of using the default LNAV if it needs to do anything quite fancy, which it looked like it did. It had waypoints that weren't quite on the track. So let's try the 8 Romeo. Insert. There it goes. So I'm looking for straight ahead to 1.2. I'll see that on the nav display. And then it goes to Zigar, and then it heads out on the 087 to Clacton. Yep. Again, the waypoints aren't labeled quite correctly yet in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So if we go plan, and there it is. So I'm looking just sensibly for a picture that looks right. Looks like it goes up to 6,000 feet. And then if I do that, we should see this again. Yeah, there we go. And what does it have? Does it have any initial clearances? At or above 3,000, max 4 actually. 5 and then 6. So we'll start with 4,000. There we go. QNH is set. I know the METAR said 1015, but we'll go with 1016. Great. So that's the departure, short taxi route. Yeah, the charts are definitely useful. Absolutely, Mike. Thanks for joining us today. Kai says, shame I can't be on board this flight to Corsica due to restrictions. It's been like 2 years since I've been out of the UK. Yeah, it's a shame. I saw that some countries now are accepting the UK's double vaccines and things like that. So there's the route, by the way. If you go to CloudBot, it should be alive to give you the route if you ask for it. ! Route. If not, it is in the Discord for those of you flying along. And Dougal did kindly post it earlier in the chat right at the start. Yeah, I saw some destinations are accepting the UK's one, so hopefully that will continue. Right, so flight plan secondary, still not active, fine. RadNav we won't use, and it's, well, in fact, in RadNav, I suppose. As we got the charts available, I may as well be a little bit more proper. So 110.5 is going to be on my side, which I'll use as the DME for that first turn at 1.2 DME, and we'll have Clacton tuned in the other side, which is 11455. Oh, what's quite good is in the real aircraft you have to type pretty much that slowly. If you just start, it's not like a computer keyboard. You can't type in as quickly as you would. There's sometimes lag, and sometimes you know that there's a problem running in the background, or the software's going to need a bit of, or it might need a restart. You start to press buttons and you'll wait seconds before it appears in the scratch pad. It does occasionally happen, rare, but yeah, sometimes it slows down quite badly. Thank you to Krishna for your subscription. I hope you're doing very well. Right, Dave's getting second jab tomorrow. Staffed in Basildon, excellent. Yeah, so that'll be good when, fingers crossed, that's where we're getting back to normal and people can go on holiday again. I've seen more of that sort of stuff seems to be in the news lately. So that's the only news I'm willing to listen to at the moment. Right. Okay. Good. So, sorry about that. So there's the flight plan, secondary flight plan. RadNav is set up for the two things we possibly will need. Time for a NIT-B. Before we do a NIT-B, what we should have done, I knew there was something I needed to do at the start. It's been a while since we've used the A32NX. I needed to go into perf weight and balance, load up the fuel. It needed 7.1 tons. And let me just check. I just need a way to integrate the SimBrief charts, or Navigraph charts, I suppose they're now called. Not charts, flight plan. Anyway, required fuel was 7.1, but it's a long, complex approach, so I'm going to go 8,500 because we could easily overburn. Okay, and we'll load that. Then we'll go to the weight and balance, load that. 180, yeah, we've gone full. Although a 320 NEO can actually take a bit more, but the older 320s were 180, so that's the number I had in my head. Okay, right, back to the init-B page. Plonk in the new weights. Check our fuel is at 8.5. Ah, it does actually go to the number we asked for now. It used to be a little bit low, didn't it? So 8.5 is in. Takeoff weight 68.2. Alternate fuel today is 1.5. There it goes. So yeah, that sort of lag there. That's just about spot on for what the real aircraft does. Streamlabs awake, is it? There it is. Yes, excellent stuff. Victor Sanger's had all the jabs as well. Good stuff. East Birdsley says, good question. I also wondered how to reboot it, like when I have wrong init settings. That's the quickest way to delete all the data. Well, in the real aircraft, the way to delete all the data is you go to Data, Aircraft Status, and you can't do it here. You actually swap database. So you plonk in this database, which is out of date, and then you put it back to the new one. Check you're on the new one, and then when you go back into here, this will all be gone. Yeah, everything. It dumps the entire thing. But that wouldn't fix a slow FMS. That would actually... Either it comes back to life, it picks up a bit, or we have to do an actual reset, which involves putting circuit breakers on the rear panel, which is something that, you know, any problems in the Airbus, and the chances are you're going to be fiddling with this panel over here, pulling circuit breakers on for certain seconds and things like that. Anyway, yeah, we're aiming for half past. We've got 15 minutes, so that is the init-B we were on. So just to put in that wind component, average wind today is plus 38. We got a tailwind, hooray! We had a strong headwind for our long flight last time. Fantastic. Oh, I'm very happy about that. 2 tons extra. That's a nice comfortable figure for what we're about to attempt. And you can see these new figures are all calculated quite nicely now. 900 kilos final reserve for a NEO is, yeah, about right. init-B, so diffs rate performance. Runway 22. Let's do a flap 1. Certainly what I'd fancy today. I'm curious. I'm going to try out a flex again today. And let's plonk in the speeds. Transition altitude 6,000. Okay, 222 clean. Did we have any speed restrictions? Oh, this is great. This is such a relief having this here like this. So, climb straight ahead, turn left, inbound, 3,000, max 4,000. No speed restrictions. Would it be accelerating around that turn? Little note 1, let's just check what that says. Warning step climb, we knew we had to be careful with that. Transition altitude 6,000, we know. 1, aircraft below 195 knots. First turn, no further east than 140 track to intercept Clacton 267. So that's for aircraft that are too slow. They wouldn't get around that turn. They'd actually, they'd end up over here. So we'll be faster than that, I'm assuming. I'm hoping. Never assume. We can't ever assume. Vikas, thank you so much for your 40 rupee donation. Really appreciate it. Vikas says, A32NX improved. At first it was amazing then. Yeah, it's, no, it's improving all the time. And this is, you know, it's just great. It's got so many nice things. It's just that LNAV. I'm still waiting, but you guys have heard me say that before. So yeah, no, it's just fantastic. But thank you very much, Vikas, for supporting the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming along today. Lewis says, do you fly commercial planes? Yes, I do. Navigraph have owned SimBrief. It's quite recent, actually. I feel like it was a purchase just a few months ago. Bob says, I'm sure it's sacrilege, but would you consider doing an FS 2020 tutorial about spawning the 320NX on the runway? Oh, what do you mean, Bob? Do you mean like a tutorial where we just set up on the runway what we need to do to get going with engines running? We could do that, indeed. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, if that's what you mean, I don't see why not. Hotshot says, I updated the engine start sounds yesterday, and the startup is louder behind the engine over the wing. You should try. Oh, well, we'll try. So would this view work? Is that going to work for the startup? Okay, Bob. Copy that. Right. So that's performance done. So diff strip is now complete. Let's sit here and think about what we're doing. So, oh, I love this. Yeah, this is, everyone told me to do this and I was too nervous, but it's actually great. So here we go. Here's the parking stands. We're here on 3-3. We're going to push back. Probably Bravo middle unless someone's pushing on the other side. We'll see. Out Bravo, Romeo. Bravo Hotel Romeo most likely. Take off on 2-2. And then nice SID. Straight out 1.2D. Left turn. Intercept that radial all the way up towards Clacton. Got to remember to do our step climbs. And we'll probably just climb higher than that anyway unless London does come online. So that's ready to go. Let's shrink this down to something more palatable. And get rid of that.
S256, can you hold your push for a second so Caledonian 45 Bravo can go? We're planning to push on Charlie East.
It's getting busy. The Stansted cul-de-sacs. I'm going to start up the APU. Everyone's being very polite with each other, which is great. Fuel's on board, so we'll turn on the passenger signs. Okay. And now I'll show you what lots of pilots do. It's not written anywhere. They all turn these pumps off, or they don't turn them on yet until we've got the APU generator already online. It's like almost like a superstition on the Airbus that if you do it like with the pumps running, the electrical load is too high for the changeover. But yeah. So Buki, man, it's good to see you again. Buki says the quickest way in Flight Simulator probably. It sounds like anyway. Buki says just change the airports and erase all the data. There you go. Hotshot says, and Hotshot says yes. Okay, good. So Hotshot is Boris, then I'm assuming. Yep. So Boris has been working very hard on the sounds, and they are all excellent. You can hear them all over the place now. Something I've got a video on the hydraulics coming very soon, so let's turn on the hydraulic pump, and now you can hear that high pitched whine. How's the audio for you guys? Is the aircraft audio loud enough? But yeah, that high pitched whine there, you'll hear it as a passenger. It's probably not the pilots doing it. It'll be the ground crew moving the cargo doors, which activates the yellow pump. Yeah, Hotshot is Boris. Yeah, excellent. I do struggle with all the names, especially when people have different names. But you're not the only one, Boris. Hotshot. Right. Fitzy says, finally I catch you live from Australia. Excellent, Fitzy. I hope it's not too late tonight in Australia. J-Bay says, I think I read when they took over SimBrief, they were going to keep it free as per their message at the time. Yeah, it still sounds like it should be free. Yep. Try the new wiper sounds, Andrea. Well, we can't do that yet, but we will.
Push and start from stand 4-2 on to Charlie West.
We better get going. Ah, no, that's funny. Why? So that's why that didn't load there. but I don't need it otherwise. I'm just curious. Okay, a few things to talk about there. Right, let's get rid of the passenger bridge. Let's get rid of the ground power. You get the clunk, and now all the pilots will turn their pumps on. You can't hear those in the cabin, but you do hear them outside with Boris's sound effects. Vikas, thank you so much, Vikas, for your 100 rupee donation. Really appreciate it, Vikas. Vikas says, the physics and flight model good with the A32NX. Waiting for that because I got a new PC, so we'll switch back to FS 2020 from X-Plane. Yeah, the flight model is improving a lot, and I actually quite like flying this A32NX now. It's so much better than the default and feeling really, really good. Yeah, it's a good flight model now. It just has a few things in the low speed range, and the ground handling does still suffer from Flight Simulator 2020's overly exaggerated grip, it seems. I'm assuming that's what the issue is, but it's always improving as well. But to actually take it off, fly in a bit of a crosswind, yeah, it's really nice. Right, that's the APU. So let's do the APU bleed.
Go flight 247, pushing and starting stand 9 right onto
And
Alpha
we'll do
West.
before start checklist. Cockpit prep is complete. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs are on and auto. ADIs are in nav. Fuel quantity is 8.5 tons and balanced. So, all right, let me just check what I actually wanted. I wanted 8.5. It was 7.1 required. Perfect. Takeoff data is set 3540, climb nav 152 4000. Power ref is set 1016. Windows and doors will do now then, so we'll go below the line. Windows and doors are closed. Beacon on. Transponder is to auto. There we go. Mobile phone off. Thrust levers are at idle. Parking brake is set. Let's call the tug. Should have done that. You do that below the line would be after you've called the tug and you've got clearance, really. So that's slightly out of order. But yeah, so Vikas, thanks for your donation. Really appreciate it. And absolutely, I think the physics and flight model are very good. Lauren V says, don't worry, it was the three of us on the other side getting going, all on our own taxi lines. Excellent. And the H1302, good evening. Enjoy your dinner when it comes, but thanks for stopping by. Thanks for moderating. You can hear the pumps over wing in the cabin. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, very good. They're very audible outside, which I think we've shown before. Right, let's call up Stansted traffic. Jet set 284, pushing back onto Bravo from stand 33. Well, that wasn't very convincing. Was it Bravo? Yep, we'll do Bravo. I didn't specify which one. So we'll just do Bravo East. We'll give as much room, but I won't promise that now because, yeah, as you guys know, it's not that easy. Okay, it's time to go. So I'll say I'll release the parking brake. We'll now attach to the tug. We can start the clock. Straight back. Away we go. Right, very short taxi, so easily a 2-engine taxi day. So we'll start number 2. Starting the clock. Got pressure. Master switch 2 on. Sorry if you don't see things moving in the cockpit, it's just because I'm using my little hardware panel. It's not great for streaming really, in some respects. So now, hopefully you'll hear the audio. Well, how was that? Fantastic. Excellent, excellent. That was absolutely brilliant. The Neos do sound like that. They sound like a much bigger airplane. They sound like a 777 or something like that. So there's the engine avail. We've completed the push. I'm going to set the parking brake. We'll say goodbye to our tug driver. And we'll start up engine 1. Got pressure. Number 1. Yeah, that was glorious. Really, really like that. But the pushback, says John. Yeah, almost. I'm glad I didn't promise to be on the east because, or with the any line in particular. There we There goes engine 1. Is the audio alright for you guys? Did you hear all that? Right, that's the engine up and running. The ground crew have gone. Jumping back into the cockpit. There's available. Get rid of the timer. Back to norm. Get rid of that APU. Arm the ground spoilers. Recenter the trim. Flaps going to 1. And make sure the stabilizer's set right. 29.6. Perfect middle CG there. No problems. Okay. After start checklist, anti-ice is off. ECAM status is checked. Pitch trim is 29.5 set and rudder trim 0. After start checklist complete. Now, it seems like ground has appeared. So I'll just answer a couple of questions. Giuseppe's Gaming, good to see you. Giuseppe from Twinfinite Gaming. Giuseppe says, Cessna 140 coming for Microsoft Flight Simulator from Aeroplane Heaven. That's a good developer, so I expect great things. Oh, that would be good fun. Cessna 140, great airplane. Yeah, fantastic. Right. Good sounds is UK. Excellent. So ground's appeared. Thanks for that. We'll do that. The engine sounds on A320NX are awesome these days, says John. Yeah, that's Hot Shots. Good work, otherwise known as Boris. Yeah. Evening, Hayden J. Robbins. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Rip Van Hal says, question, do airline pilots have their plane or are they sitting in a different plane each time? Different plane each time. Whichever airplane is in base. Yeah, we do not have our own aircrafts. Danny says, do you have Orbex scenery for Bastia, Corsica? I do indeed. Very excited. Orbex kindly provided it. So yeah, excellent. Aris the Pratt says, have you not had a look at toolbar pushback yet? Sadly not. That's my fault. You give me a break. I've only just managed to get Navigraph charts about 2 months after everybody else. I'm terrible. So yeah, I will have to look at that because that's clearly going to be useful for getting to enjoy those excellent engine sounds. Tom Corwin says, I like how the cockpit is much brighter than the Toliss. I hate the dark Toliss cockpit. I would say that's not Toliss's fault. I think that's slightly down to X-Plane's lighting system because when the sun's at the right angle in the Toliss, it looks perfect. So I suspect, I'm hoping that new X-Plane lighting system will make the Toliss a bit brighter on the streams. Fitzy, thanks so much for your $10 Australian donation. Really appreciate it. Fitzy says, I love your channel, A320 Sim Pilot. This is the first time I've seen you streaming live, but watch all of your streams on repeat. It's 2:30 a.m. here in Australia. Thank you for all you do for us. That's incredibly kind, Fitzy. Thank you so much for donating towards the channel. Thank you for staying up at 2:30 to watch. I won't feel offended if you have to go to bed, but thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and thank you for watching the streams afterwards. That's really nice to know that people do enjoy them once they're up there. And yeah, I'm chuffed. Thank you so much, and thank you for that very kind donation. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, very kind. Everyone likes the toolbar pushback. Okay, we'll do that. Giuseppe says it's coming in 3 days, July the 5th. Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got a few videos in the works. I might not be able to get around to that one for a little while, but no matter. No matter. Sometimes we have to wait for these things. Right. I had something to do here. I need to find ground 121725. So we'll go and speak to ground before we get in trouble because we did a nice early pushback there, and it'd be a shame
Romeo
to
1.
ruin it.
Via Alpha Hotel Romeo.
Matter 256, nothing further, monitor Unicom 122.8, goodbye.
Unicom 122.8, Manta 256.
Yes, there's a Manta.
Goodbye.
Excellent.
Tom Jet 875, behind the Go Flight 83,
gate.
correction, behind the Go Flight 737-800, leaving from
Now this is
left, taxi,
we haven't had this many
Romeo 1 via Alpha Hotel Romeo.
Romeo 1, so they are using the runway in front, which is good news. This is still the developmental version, Seared Lamb. Yep, I use developmental.
Tom, 875 taxis to holding point from the
Good job we took extra fuel.
Put
that radar on. While we wait, we'll do the flight controls. Full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral, full left, full right, neutral. Let's put the radar on. Put your windshield to auto. Transponder can go to TARA, max auto brake, takeoff config. May as well do all of this stuff now. Ding on the cabin crew. Oh, I need to do that on my
Stansted
hardware.
ground, Caledonian 45 Bravo, request taxi.
There's a Caledonian, excellent.
Caledonian 45 Bravo, taxi holding point Sierra 1 via Charlie Hotel Sierra.
Taxi holding point Sierra 1 via Charlie.
Anthony, good to
Hotel
see you.
Sierra,
Thanks for joining us.
Caledonian
Not missed too much
45
at all. Just Pushback and some excellent
Jet set
startup
751,
sounds.
nothing further, Monty Uniform
Oh, there's a jet
1
set out there as well. Fantastic.
122.8 for jet set 751, thanks ATC.
Awesome.
Go flight 247, taxi squawk should be 4220.
Go fly as well. All these great call signs coming out. This is great. Manta, jet sets, go flies.
Go flight 241.
And Stansted jet set 284 on Bravo request clearance for Corsica.
Say call sign, I have Alpha Mike.
Hey firm, that should be jet set 284 unless there's another code you'd like me to use. I'm not sure, maybe I've got that one wrong.
That's fine, I just have a few people using jet, so that's fine. Jet set 284, you're cleared to Bastia via the Clacton 1 Echo departure. It's called 1143.
Okay, to Bastia, Clacton 1 Echo Squawk 1143, jet set 284, thanks.
Jet set 284, read back correct.
Oh,
Go flight 247.
don't do that. Right, so that's my fault.
nothing
Right, let's get
further,
that squawk in, 1143. And as is the rule,
122.8, go flight 247, bye.
Caledonian
143.
45 Bravo,
Yeah, we've got the wrong departure.
122.8, goodbye.
Now you all saw the 1 Echo,
Bravo.
very
Thanks for
similar.
being
We're going to
here.
have to keep our fingers crossed.
Tom Jet 875.
I know what's
43,
confused
starting your taxi,
him.
sir.
It will be the... Why is it not appearing now? There it is. It'll be the fact that there's the jet set call sign was used in lots of different ICAO codes. So let me just check actually.
Jet set 284, request your cockpit to Corsica, approximate 250 information Delta 284.
I was totally guessing when I said AMM. No, it was AMM when it was Air 2000, but I wonder what everyone else is using then. What other airlines? Are they using the My Travel? I'm not sure.
4.
Anyway, there's a departure. Let's just check.
Jet set 285.
Jet set 285, read back correct.
Easy 105, Mike, requesting taxi.
Just check we're not missing something silly.
105 Mike, taxi, holding point Sierra
So still
1,
4,000 feet level off, but out with a left turn, 210 knots max. So it's going to be limited to 210. That's no problem, but we'll need to leave flap 1 out because our clean speed was 220, which is what you'd expect at these weights. Jet set 284, request taxi.
Jet set 284, do you have adequate wingtip clearance to pass the company A320 on their left?
Tom 875 diesel block. Which car is the border? Norway. Hold on.
Jet set 285, request taxi.
I'm not...
Jet set 285, taxi, holding point Romeo 1
Ah,
via Bravo Hotel
hopefully
Romeo.
that's them. Yep, they're on Bravo. Perfect. Yeah, we couldn't quite do that either side, really.
Jet set 284, following the company A320 in front of you, taxi, holding point Romeo 1 via Bravo Hotel Romeo.
Thanks, that solves that one. We'll go Bravo Hotel Romeo, Romeo 1, jet set 284. Good news.
Easy 105
So,
Mike, nothing further.
taxi lights on. There we go.
122.8, goodbye.
Parking brake release.
Unicorn is 122.8, easy 105, Mike.
Off we go. Now this is going to be really interesting when we get to the other end. We haven't had this many people fly along with us
Did you say you weren't able to move?
for
Tom
well, definitely
875,
weeks, maybe even months. Oh, you can tell it's heavy.
Tom 875.
Brake check. All good. Brakes are working today. They weren't working yesterday for our fun. Well, not yesterday, the other day. Taxi charts then. I should have left those out.
Hold position for now, please.
We're going Bravo. Hotel Romeo. Exactly as we expected. Minimise that. I quite like the minimising. That's good fun. I can actually minimise it out of your way. Vikas, thank you so much for 100 rupee donation. Vikas for supporting the channel a lot today. Vikas says, fly the beautiful Play Air livery with a cool sign. I hadn't heard of that one. Careful to Stansted, that must be a good one. I had not heard of that one, Vikas. But thank you very much for supporting the channel. Hayden says, is there a plane here with a British Caledonian?
134,
I believe there is.
give you a new gate.
I know there's been a
Continue
fantastic British
pressing
Caledonian
the
livery made for
Bravo.
X-Plane by somebody in the community on the Discord. I have seen it, and I'd love to fly it. It's on the Toliss 321, but it won't show up, sadly, in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah, I have spotted that one.
134,
Absolutely
new
lovely.
gate, taxi gate 23 via Juliet and Bravo. Thank you.
And remember, we're going to Romeo, so first right, first left. That's good, actually. I'm very happy with that.
Nothing further, monitor Unicorn 122.
Okay, it's nothing further. So one of these could be the Go Air and jet sets and so on in front of us.
Jet set 284, nothing further, monitor Unicorn 122.8. Goodbye.
1228 jet set 284. Thanks for your help, mate. Right, how's everyone going to do this? This is busy. Brilliant fun. Peak holiday season this is. Which is sort of, it would be now, I suppose, in a normal time. Wikipedia says AMN was used for jet set, but it might not be, but it might be used for Moldovan airline Aerom now. Ah, okay. So what's everyone else using? I'll have to have a look.
Decal 45 Bravo against traffic.
There's the beacon. Hayden says would be great to see that livery. Yeah, it's.
Ensure some good IFR separation between everyone here.
Oh, I should be listening. I'm going to sit here. Don't want to go any closer. Coming up the engine volume? Yeah, we can. But just let me know if that makes the air traffic too loud for you guys. The green and white livery I'm looking at on another plane. That's just a default Microsoft Flight Simulator livery that it loads in over there. Victor Tango is having internet problems. No problem. Thanks for trying, Victor Tango. We'll see you next time.
45 Bravo, rolling, runway 22.
So there's the BCAL heading away. SB, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Agent Kerbal says, any tips on getting flight sim gear? I've been trying to get the Thrustmaster TFRP pedals for 1 month. They sell out almost immediately. No, it's hard. I just signed up for some of those alerts. That's how I managed to get all the hardware I've managed. So there's the GoFly going. Excellent news. This is development build, Malcolm. Exactly. Spud Nash says, love these videos. Keep up the good work. Any insider news on when we can expect the first stable fly-by-wire A380? Sadly not. No, I don't have any insider news for you at all. I just get the updates as they release. But yeah, looking forward to that a lot. Hotshot, who is one of the developers, says, I suggest not using the marketplace version. It's just stable and it won't get regular updates. There you go. So using the installer on PC is the best way forwards here for the fly-by-wire and using the development version at the moment. Checkpoint said, had to miss a little bit. If you close the Navigraph toolbar, will it reset the charts or will it just remember your changes? No, if you close the toolbar, it remembers what you had, luckily. There they are. What I don't... so far, I've had to sign in again every time I've launched Flight Simulator. Not a big deal, though, because you can actually just click on a button, and as long as you're signed in on your browser, it does it with one click, so it's not as bad as I thought. But you do seem to have to sign in to your account every time. But like I say, very straightforward. So yeah, very impressed with that. Finally, a real game changer there. Because Avitab was the king of that previously. Right, maybe I'm going to try and leapfrog somebody in the air. Experimental is momentarily discontinued, says Hotshot. There we go. Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
He's 105, make affirmative. Yeah.
This is Flex today. I was curious to see if Flex has much impact.
Flight 247 departing runway 2.
There goes Go Flights.
2 Clacton 1 Echo departure.
Clacton 1 Echo, which I think we're all on today.
Stansted traffic, easy 105, Mike. Behind the departing GoJet.
I think this is a 737 over here. This GoJet, Go Flight, whatever it's called. So that just shows up as a 320, it seems, because that's yeah. I don't think that won't be Flight Simulator 2020. So that's just what VATSIM loads in for us. Okay, no, I haven't had any trouble with the SID or STAR so far and the MS freezing, but we'll see how this one goes. We've got climb nav arm, so that's looking good. I think the traffic from the right, then us. Perfect. GoJet is indeed a 737. Thanks, Lauren. Any hope for flyby A350? I don't think that's going to be anytime soon, if there is hope for it. Maybe we'll take the drone for a spin while we're sat here.
From stand traffic, that's 35 behind you, jet traffic 911.
I got nervous there. I thought we were over the line, but no, that's not us. So we've got the jet set in front of us. It's such a shame. I was so hoping that my livery would show up on any other similar ones. This model matching that is something I really want to see. I know they've started to add liveries, haven't they? I'm not using any model matching at the moment. I'm waiting for the default one. I was really hoping it would arrive.
Correct in 1 Echo departure, last call, Stansted traffic.
Well, we could have done a single engine taxi quite easily here. Checkpoint says soon we'll have a chance to see some historic planes at our airbase. They'll be flying over a B-25 Mitchell, Harvard 2B and the Spitfire. Wow, that's going to be quite something.
Stansted traffic, easy 105, mate, taking off runway 22, collecting 1 Echo.
Hotshot says the takeoff sounds in cabin are different on front and behind engine 2. Exhaust is louder behind the wing. Oh, very clever. Now here's something I had noticed.
Stansted traffic is the 3301 short Sierra.
The exhaust out of the left-hand engine seems to go higher. You can see it all the way up to sort of out here and above the wing there, just about. This is very subtle, but I just noticed it from when I've done some videos. Whereas the right-hand side, it seems to be a bit lower. So if we jump back into the cabin, and yeah, I'll look for those engine sound changes in the if I'm filming it when I can use a replay for takeoff or landing, or certainly takeoff. Maybe we'll see on landing. So here you go. You can see it sort of blurring out the wing, which of course it wouldn't. Whereas on the right-hand side, there's nothing. Left-hand side, it's blurring. It's really strange. It's quite a funny one that I just noticed. I think was it today while I was trying to film? Yeah. Right. Let's move up and keep our place. Don't want our friends on the right getting ahead of us. Mark, good to see you, Mark. Thanks for coming along. I think everyone's doing 2 minutes, are they? Let's just squeeze right up to the line. I think that would be way behind the line. Yeah. Oh dear. Come on, let's do it. Let's get that nose right to the limit and then just compare what it looks like in the cockpit. Definitely no further forward than that. The line, can't even see it. There it is. Hayden says, if you're on a development version, it's more likely to be buggy. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very good. Just curious. I just hadn't noticed. I didn't know that anything could affect the exhaust. So yeah, it just seems that there's a slight change. Barracuda, yep. This is probably one of my favourites. JMC Air, another favourite of mine, which we'll have to fly again soon. Something leaky in that left-hand engine, says John. Yeah, absolutely. This is classic coffee cup time. Get rid of the last bit of coffee, because otherwise as you take off, you can see that the way these cups are designed, if you have your coffee cup sitting in here now for takeoff, you know, it's just empty at the back, so it gets pushed that way. If it's got enough coffee in it, it's usually alright because it's weighed down enough, but if it's not got too much and you've got a lid on top like that, which you obviously would do, then yeah, it could topple quite easily. And you'll have your flight bag down here somewhere. So that will invariably be open because you grabbed your whatever you're using, or EFB or whatever out of it, or your headset or something. So what happens is you take off, you hit a bump or something on the runway, that goes straight down and empties whatever's left straight into your bag, and then you spend the rest of the day smelling old coffee in your bag. Yeah, Flight 24 is beating us off the ground and we're not doing very well here. This is I can't believe there were so many people flying. It's great fun. 45 minutes. I was hoping we could do 30, but there we go. Stansted traffic, jet set 284, lining up runway 22. Right. All the lights on. Clear on the approach. Before takeoff checklist, flight controls checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing is confirmed, flaps are config 1% green, config 1 blue, F-main takeoff data, we've got 135, 140, climb nav blue, 152, 4,000 feet. Transponder is set to TARA, there goes our colleagues. You don't want to get too close behind. You'll actually, from the jet blast, from taking off aircraft, this is probably okay here, but from that jet blast you'll see your airspeed indications go up and down and all sorts of funny effects.
Will be departing next aircraft in sequence after departing.
There we go. So I'm going to start the clock. The timings are 2 minutes. For wake turbulence, the timings actually run from not when the aircraft gets airborne. It's 2 minutes or whatever the time happens to be for your aircraft. It used to be 2 minutes. It runs from when they start the takeoff roll. So we'll just give ourselves 2 minutes from there. Yeah, getting too close behind you, you'll see all the pitos and so on change. But anyway, we'll finish the checklist. Transponder is set, ECA memo, takeoff no blue, cabin secured, engine mode select to norm, TCAS TARA, packs are going to be on. That's the before takeoff checklist complete. We are ready to go, and we just need to wait. Oh, there we go. CW, there is a first choice out there. Coffee will be gone by now, says Jason. John says, I like this coffee tip. It's exactly the sort of thing that would happen to me first day on the job, so now I've been warned. Yeah, exactly. Giuseppe says, that coffee one sounds like personal experience. Oh, yes. Yeah, coffee everywhere. Lauren V says, coffee mug will be empty by takeoff given the whole point queue today, given that I've got the kettle on for a second tea. Yeah, oh no, I suspect so. Down there too, yeah, down there, we've had down there, that would be good, wouldn't it, as well. Hello, Vandavine, good to see you. You are just in time indeed. Right. 30 seconds to go. Stands the traffic, jet set 284, taking off runway 22, Clacton 1 Echo departure. Just get my call in early. Make yourself feel better. Let's display both the VORs. I was supposed to do that for the DME. So there we go. ISX 0.7. Going to hold it on the toe brakes now. So releasing the parking brake. Getting ready for liftoff. 10, 9, 8, 7. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5. Spool up to 50%. 3, 2, 1. And half side stick. 2 clicks forward, taking off, man flex, 65, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue and armed. And away we go. Nice long runway here.
Taxi in position, runway 22.
That 2 minutes does feel like a long time when you're sat on the runway, doesn't it? I hope no one was trying to land, because I didn't look properly on the TCAS. 100 knots then, stick to neutral. Nice long takeoff roll, always very satisfying. Airplane does come very responsive at this point. V1 rotate. When you do the long takeoff roll to these higher speeds, you really notice it. Bit of a crossing from the left, positive climb. Gear coming up. Nav. I absolutely love the fly-by-wires rotate law. It's one of the best feeling takeoffs on the simulator market in the Airbus. It's really good. Especially as it's the NEO, you know, it's so targeted at the NEO. And there we go. Thank you very much, Stansted. Thanks to the controller. Start our left turn, 1.2. I can't remember if it was 1.2 or 1.5. You don't want to be, you know, you wouldn't be overly concerned. Let's put the autopilot in while I talk. And 1 click back, thrust, climb, auto thrust. And that's good. You hear there was no change. So has flex now been implemented? I need to have a look at that. Because I noticed there that by bringing the thrust back, there was no real change in thrust. So I'm curious now. Because flex for a long time didn't really do anything. Boris will know. Round the turn we go, climbing to 4,000 feet. And shouldn't be saying that to us. We're going to leave flap 1 out because we're supposed to be doing 220 initially. So I'm actually just going to set that at the S speed. And 4,000 feet to level off, so I'm going to pull the vertical speed. And we'll go 1,500 feet. So there's speed plus 1,500, 4,000. Round the turn we go, pointing towards Clacton. Rakon says, number 1 engage. Yes, exactly. Go, says JB. That's it. Stevens left 90 seconds. That'll be absolutely fine. Outstar.
Traffic, EC320, depart runway 22 on the Clacton 1 Echo departure.
Nicholas says, was that the shuttle countdown? And somebody else. correctly. Nicholas says, or actually, ignition sequence start sounds like Apollo. Yeah, the ignition sequence starts as an Apollo thing. Okay, away we go then. Let's have a look. When can we climb? I think we'll do the SID properly initially, as there's so many of us using it. So it's 210 to SSE 6 at 11. We can go 250. 5,000 feet at 23. Which is all labelled. It's nice actually. This is really coming along because now these waypoints are all correct. It's a good change. So we passed the last waypoint with a speed limit, so I'm actually just going to manage that. We could retract the flaps above the green S, but you'll see without an accelerating arrow we won't. We'll only retract them when we can see it accelerating. It's tempting to think you could straight away. Anyway, flaps to 0. Up to 250 knots. Get rid of those gear lights. Lauren V says, I would have absolutely gone as Dan Air today if there was a livery for the Toliss. Ah, is there no Dan Air on the Toliss? I didn't know that, yeah. So yeah, we've got 339 people watching and 103 likes. So if anyone has enjoyed the takeoff and my my impression of a NASA countdown, do please hit the like button. It makes a massive difference for the channel. And if you guys are enjoying it and the video was recommended to you by YouTube, it's usually because people have liked the video. So I would really appreciate it. It makes a massive difference to the channel and the way YouTube recommends us. So thank you so much, and thanks for coming along to watch the takeoff. And I hope you stick around, or at least come back for the landing. Really appreciate it. Jorg says, do you take premium coffee from the airport with you when you're flying, or do you get some from the flight attendants? Great question. These are the questions that I'm here to answer. It depends. If you're running late, and I've been late in the sense that maybe there was some delay getting somewhere, or you've come in from another flight and it's running late, then no, you're not going to stop at the terminal. You'll be going straight to the next aeroplane, or if that's what you're doing. If you're staying on the same airplane all day, then you may have the option to pop into the terminal in some airports, but that's rare these days. That is much rarer, certainly in the UK. Letting pilots into the terminal is quite a challenge. So it really depends, but it's a mixture. I'd say a mixture, a healthy mixture of that. Sometimes if you're just too early, and sometimes if there's a queue at the coffee shop you're thinking of going to, we're not paid to be standing in a coffee queue, we're paid to be flying. But, if you see pilots in a coffee queue, it's because they've got time and they know that. So it's, yeah, it does vary. Thank you for those subscriptions, really appreciate it. To Wingman, Mr. Bing and Agent Kerbal, really appreciate it. Oh, and also Elias and Us. Thanks for the like, thanks for everyone. Yeah, we've got 158 likes, really appreciate it. Thank you all for those likes. Right, 23 is 5,000. So if we look at our charts, it goes max 4 at 18, where we're about to pass that. So as soon as we're past 18, we can climb. I'm very close to clicking on that update. Good evening. Does the A32NX auto-tune? No, not properly. No, I've had to manually tune these. We can clear out the ISX now. Right, 5,000 feet. Let's go. You'd actually do it for a 1,000-foot change. I'd do vertical speed, 1,000 feet per minute. Don't want to get too excited about that. Emil says, after watching almost every one of your A32NX videos, I've learned so much from you. It's these live streams that I learn the most. We'll watch the rest later. Take care and have a good flight. Thanks, Emil. See you next time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along. Hey, the AFR. Good to see you. I don't think the new sim update has dropped, but Giuseppe will be the guru of that sort of knowledge. And Giuseppe, when is the new sim update coming with the performance increase? Is it soon? Have we figured out, does flex work? Flight 24 rolling. Hotshot says, I think we have a basic implementation of flex for a while. I'm not too sure. I'll ask India. Thanks, Hotshot. Sim Racing says, I'm in my MB339 and want to escort you. How can I find you? Well, you have to be on VATSIM, I'm afraid. Hotshot says, oh, I had a question. Is the volume of the engines on takeoff realistic in the cockpit? I've gotten conflicting responses from different pilots saying it's good or too loud. Great question. That's a lovely day in the UK. I love these cloud effects. That looks like rain underneath them there. I'm assuming that's what it is. You can see how it's clearer there and then rain over there. Flight Simulator is just unbelievable with its weather. Very good. I thought it was fine on that takeoff, I must admit, but I'm not a good person to ask for on a stream. I'll have to do a takeoff or two not on a stream, just because I have my audio set quite quiet when I'm streaming, because I just make sure I can hear what I'm saying. So yeah, but that sounded good to me. 321s are the quietest. Obviously 320s you can hear them, and they're definitely quieter in the Neos than the older engines, but it's a different sort of sound. It's more of that high-pitched whine, which is definitely captured really nicely in this mod at the moment. Right, I'm going up to 37,000 feet to cruise today, so thrust come open climb, and look at that, it did exactly what I wanted. New cruise out 37,000. That's because I originally told it 35, or I didn't actually, the sim brief did, but there we go, 37,000 is in. Up we go. I don't want to get overtaken by my colleagues behind, and I know TCAS RAs are very close to being in here, so we could get one today. We'll go standard, 370 standard. After takeoff checklist is landing gear up, flaps retracted, packs are both on, and barrier F is on standard. That's the after takeoff checklist complete. Owen Murphy says, evening mate, how long is the flight? 1 hour 45, sorry, 1 hour 40 for the flight today, but obviously we're already underway, so not too long at all. Lago YouTube says, hey, glad you're on again so quickly. Hope you're doing fine. Thank God it's Friday. Enjoy your stream and the weekend. Thanks, Lago YouTube. Yep, I'm very pleased. I've managed 3 streams this week, I think, which is good. It's what we used to do all the time, but I've been struggling to get them done. So yeah, really, really pleased to be streaming again. And thanks for joining us again today. No, I thought those sounds on takeoff were really good. I don't have a problem with them. Vic says, how long does it take for a total newbie to tackle this flight sim? If you just want to fly around in any aeroplane, it won't take long at all. If you want to learn to fly the Airbus using the fly-by-wire mod in all its free mod, but using it in all its detail, then it can take you, yeah, you know, as long as you want it to. You can just sit and study all the systems. It's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. But it's got loads of great tutorials for really basics. Sebby's Gaming says, not that it matters, people erroneously think the X12 is bound to performance improvements. It isn't. Oh, okay, so the improvements are something else, are they? I'm so far behind. I haven't actually seen that. So it's not going to have the X12 for the performance increase. That's still in the works. I see. So it's just a performance increase. Well, that's good to get a performance increase on its own. Lauren V says, I think it's the end of the month. Okay. July 27th, end of July, so that's going to coincide with Xbox. Thanks, everyone. George FS Videos, good to see you again. Russell says, evening skipper, sorry I'm late, missed the takeoff, hope the walk around wasn't too much trouble without me. I'll give the stream a like anyway, as I know it was a good one. Thanks, Russell. Yep, we made it around. And yeah, do enjoy the delivery. And there's Giuseppe with the July 27th. Thanks so much, Giuseppe. Chris says, for a 1,000-foot climb, putting open climb should give you 1,000 feet per minute anyway. No, sadly not. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. In Boeing's flight level change and the 7.8, as we saw in my video with Steve, it's much cleverer. It can sort of manage it. Although I know not all Boeings have it like that. But the Airbus, now in a managed climb or descent, it does. It restricts its rate of climb when you're close to the level. But in an open, I think it will always try and go to climb thrust and probably just level off so quickly that it never reaches it. Let me just check that. I'm trying to see if I can find it. That's something I'll have to check in the cruise, but I'm pretty sure it's not as good as the... oh, what am I doing? There we go. Yeah, it's not as clever as the level change. York says, when I see a pilot next time in the coffee queue, I'll let him have fun. Thanks, York. That's very kind. You'll be amazed that never, ever, ever happens. No one ever lets... no one ever wants to let us go, which I completely understand. Mark wants to hear the engine sound at the back. We can do that. Oh, that's a holiday. That is a holiday, isn't it? Just great. Over the wind farms. Looking fantastic. Spud Nash says, I really didn't expect your coffee answer to be so in-depth, but fair play, always a professional. I was waiting for you to say that actually the coffee on board isn't that bad. No, there's nothing wrong with the coffee on board, of course, if your airline provides it. Not all airlines do, though. So some airlines won't give you free coffee. It does depend. It does depend indeed. John says, I love that you're now able to see aircraft on the ND. Yeah, I haven't spotted any, but that could be too far away. Let's make sure the TCAS is in the right position. So we're on DRA above. Let's just put it to all. Oh, out reporting should stay on if it makes a difference. There we go. Right. No, can't see anyone there. Not sure. Not sure what I need to do. Anyway, we're well through 10,000 feet, so let's go to the landing lights. Let the passengers walk around. There we go. Heading over to France. Most of this route today is via France, as you'll see here. Over the Alps, it's definitely the Alps today. I do know that one. And then basically, yeah, Fiumicino would be just over here, but we're going to carve off to the right, go into Lima Foxtrot Kilo Bravo. Bastia. Yeah, it's not the Pyrenees. Let's disarm those auto brakes as well. Make sure the screens are fully bright. Good stuff. Lauren V says there's someone flying a Canberra to Malta above us. Excellent. Elias says, what's a good resource for airport airway charts for someone who can't afford Navigraph? Jump on the Discord if you can and ask there, but I've forgotten the name, but people do have a name. I've totally forgotten what it was. Hotshot says, okay, that sounds good. Let me know what you think later. I implemented the volume sliders in the EFB for that reason, because different people hear it differently. Yeah, I think that's the best way round. It's like feeding people. You can't ever tell what everybody likes, so you can go into settings. Oh, I see. Yeah, perfect. No, I leave it all. That -1 was a mistake. I didn't even mean to do that. There you go. I can't get it back to 0 now. No, now it's -2. No, come on. I did a video on hydraulics, like I say, I keep talking about it, and I couldn't get the PTU noise to play. That's something I did find, even with this audible in cockpit turned on. So I don't know if there's an issue that you're aware of, Boris, on that. Right, I've missed loads of things in chat. Russell, glad you like the livery. Yeah, I think it's one of my favourites. Yeah, definitely. Andrew says, I did my AQC in a full motion A320 sim. I was amazed at how accurate the A32NX is for freeware, waiting patiently for the hold function. Yeah, the hold function will be great when it comes. Chris says, RA 1,000 foot climb. I was shown it by a captain once, fairly sure it did the 1,000 feet per minute with open climb. Haven't tried it for a while. I'll check. Well, the only thing is, for 1,000 foot, let's try it out. I'm not going to suggest that the fly-by-wire is the resource for this, but my point is, I think it just revs up the engines to climb and tries to go up as quickly as possible. But of course, it can't do that because it will almost immediately go into outstar for the next level. So yeah, curious. But the thing I have learned from flying is never, I can't. When it comes to stuff like that, not clear procedural or safety issues, but when you're talking about just a bit of aircraft trivia, it's you never want to be sitting there declaring that you're absolutely right, because even if you were right at one point, there's a high chance things have changed since you were right, or the last time you looked it up. So unless you read it that morning, you can't ever be certain. So we just do our best. George FS Video says, hey, I recently started flying the 787, my favourite plane. I've never had a long hauler. Yeah, the heavy division mod for the 78 is incredible. Really impressed with it, as I show in my video with Steve. Yeah, enjoy that, George FS Videos. Here's a Centre 1311. We haven't had that traffic for ages on this channel. When we, like I say, we haven't had people flying along. So this is all back to the old days, really. This is great. I know a lot of people are working now, which is great. I mean, I'm very happy to hear that, and one day I will be. But for now, here we are, which is great. And then says, problem when I enter arrival during flight, the 32NX autopilot turns back towards departure. Okay, if that happens, we'll make it work. Yeah, Mike says the Microsoft dev stream demonstrated 2-time FPS improvements over New York, which is going to be great news for those of you who have been struggling with performance. Okay, let's do this then. So 2.6, let's go to 2.7. Climb. So it may only reach 1,000 because it just doesn't get the chance. Let's see what happens. 1. Yeah, well, it's doing the thousands. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. But this one definitely does. It could be a certain fit. It could be the Neos. You know, I haven't flown Neos much, but that definitely is moderating it at 1,000. So there you go. Jason says, so I know a little early, but planning early. Winds are 0907. Are we using runway 34 as it's the only one with the ILS? You can use whatever you fancy. We might get air traffic by the time we get there. Sometimes we do. So I'm going to level off at 2.7 and then we'll do an open climb for 2,000 feet. There's that star. Oh, no. Definitely level off, please. That star. Let it level off and then we'll try there. They mix the CPU multi-threading. Yeah, that's good news. Are we there yet? Not quite. Let me check in. Control Jetset 284, flight level 270 to Coxie.
Jetset 284, hello, identify, report requested level.
Requesting 370, Jetset 284.
Jetset 284, direct to Gros Tonquin, climb flight level 370, Golf Tango, Quebec.
Climb flight level 370, direct go to Jetset 284. Now, that's not how you pronounce it. I did try. Unfortunately, it probably sounded very clear to you, so you heard how badly I pronounced it, but I think over the radio it might have got away with that. Anyway, direct to Gros Tonquin. Golf Tango Quebec, there it is. Nav, Golf Tango Quebec. If it goes at 370. Fitzy says, from now on I'll remove the coffee cups on takeoff. Excellent. He says, I just did 10 kilometers on my new bike, trying to get back into not being such a slouch, using the car for every 10 meters. Turns out I'm not as fit as I used to be. This is actual work. I'll get there eventually. Yeah, it's hard work, but it'll be better. There's a TV show, BoJack Horseman, that has that line in it, which I'll probably mangle now. I don't know how many of you have seen it. Certainly, it's a show for people over 18 years of age. Viewer discretion advised. But there's an episode where he's starting to exercise, and the guy goes, it gets a little easier every time, but you've got to do it every day. That's the hard part.
Process control, easy 105 Mike.
Giuseppe said, you're going to go through the airway that passes over my house. Excellent. John says, I wonder how long until top of descent point for us. Yeah, I do wonder actually. Simon, good to see you. Simon says, glad to catch you live. Your tutorials got me flying A320s, 787s and CRJs 700s. Thanks. But why do I keep missing localized glide slopes? Am I turning the autopilot to approach too early? If you watch the streams and you'll see when I do it, maybe that will help. It could be, yeah. Are you making sure to press the LS and making sure that they do actually come up on the screen when you're doing it? That's the only things I can think of initially. Chartfox, yeah, there we go. I am way behind on chat, oh my goodness me. Chris says, promise I'm not being smart. Yeah, no problem Chris, no, but had to look myself. Our FCOM says, if the change is less than 1,200 feet in open climb, the aircraft responds with 1,000 feet per minute rate of climb. Airbus fun facts, excellent. There you go Chris, thanks for coming along. Thanks for sharing that, and it seems to be right here, and I'm definitely going to be, I'm going to be on the lookout, because I probably, because in my head, it wouldn't have done that. And I wouldn't want it to do more than 1,000 feet per minute, then I've always just put it into vertical speed for small changes. So I'm really curious now. That's really interesting. So thanks so much, Chris. It's great. That is really great. As I said. Chris, can you put the reference in the chat for where you found that? Because I'm going to have to look it up, definitely. Sharp says, assuming we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator A320 fly-by-wire, which we are, if you have time, could you explain how to delete or skip part of the flight plan? Struggling to work out how to do this. No, all you got to do, no problem. Don't feel stressed. It's the hardest thing. When I first started flying flight simulators, it's the one thing I couldn't do with complex airliners was clear out a discontinuity. It's so easy, but I spent weeks unable to do it, and I had to email people and ask. I couldn't figure out. You just press delete and delete it, or just copy the point in. So it's no problem. This stuff isn't intuitive until you're told. For example, if I wanted to skip out Rippus and Gersa, I would click next to SOSUN. Yeah, it doesn't quite work as you'd expect. So I would go clear, and then I'd clear the points that I don't want. But what you can do in the real aircraft is actually type the point. So I could take, for example, let's say I want to go to Aleti and skip out Degad. Then I could type in Aleti and put it underneath SOSUN. Sorry, underneath SOSUN. So you type the point in and then select where you want to put it back in. That should skip it out. Yeah, that should work, yeah.
Flight level 350.
Just thinking through it now.
1000 for cargo left 660.
I couldn't zoom in anymore when I tried to do the slider on the EFB. Strange, but you're absolutely right. It's possible here, isn't it?
Identified direct to Remba, expect runway 06. Direct Remba.
I'm so far behind on chat, I can only apologise, everybody. Flight 24 is going to use ChartFox, excellent stuff.
Good afternoon,
Checkpoint says, I see your amount of culture, Bojack Horseman is fun. Yeah, Bojack Horseman's an excellent show. But again, your discretion advised. Dennis says, do you get switched from ATC to Unicom automatically when a controller is present? The controller contacts you through the VATSIM sort of software. So you get a little message that tells you a frequency to contact them. Richie Reed says, how does ATC police flight level of planes? They can see it. So we have a transponder that transmits that information to air traffic. And they can even see what we've selected. So this controller will be able to see that I've selected 370 and I'm at 33. Yeah, and I think they can see your vertical speed as well, actually. Yeah, they can see a lot. Lager says, did you hear that across the EU, companies are hiring like mad? Germany has the fastest hiring rates in the last 20 years. Everyone's looking for people rich now. People right now. Economy's going to bounce back so hard. That's good. Yeah, fingers crossed. And we just need travel to be included. Russell just here, Jet 2 resumed flying yesterday. Yeah, I believe so. That's good stuff. Mental pilot went back to work. Good. That's good. Never presume with an aeroplane, says Russell. Yeah, absolutely. Hutchell says, soon in the future with the physical PTU model I can get very accurate PTU RPM and sound modelling. Wow, that'll be good. That'll be very good. Hutchell says, PTU is not implemented sound-wise other than the initial start sound of it. It's not advanced enough for the sound to actually play. We don't have PTU RPM and such. Oh, I see. Okay, so the PTU's on the way. Connor says, hey, if you pass 10,000 feet just prior to a large turn en route, do you make a conscious effort to wait until wings level before turning off the seatbelt signs? No. No, great question. It's not the turns that are the issue, it's the pitch. So if the nose was above 10 degrees, sort of 12 or something like that, we were changing speed. Say we suddenly got a big climb, so we were getting the nose up, then we'd delay it. Going through clouds, maybe. I think it's below -40, yeah, so no need for anti-ice up here in the climb. But yeah, so if it's turning though, as long as it's not a ridiculous turn, and it shouldn't be, by 10,000 feet the bank angles are relatively limited, and the lateral navigation path it's following should be quite smoothed out. As long as that's all true, we would turn off the seatbelts whenever, as long as it's smooth, and it's the pitch and speed changes that cause the G-force. If you're sat in an airplane in the cloud, you can only feel it's turning by a slight increase in G-force. Whereas you'd feel it start to climb or descent if it's too aggressive, you'd definitely notice that. And the reason we don't do it when the nose is too high is more to do with people walking up and down the cabin. It's nothing to do with the actual climbing or descending. The problem is if you have a nose above 10 degrees and somebody gets up to try and go back to the toilets, they could fall over if they're trying to go down the aisle. And you've got cabin crew with heavy trolleys that will find that difficult to manoeuvre, potentially.
X-ray 06B and descent 70, catch it 21 confirmation.
Richie Ray says, do players declare Maydays in Bastia? I have heard it before, but apparently I don't know how acceptable it is, but I have heard it.
Say again.
Sharp, you're very welcome. For direct, Sharp, press DIR for direct and then choose your waypoint. Like I chose Grotocon, and then it comes up with an insert in amber. You press next to insert and it does it. There's the Manta, excellent. Feeling very proud.
Yeah, they come 1228.
Yes, Russell, yeah, I've tried X-Plane 11 indeed. And it's very good. Chris says, better to know what the aircraft is doing using VS for small changes. Definitely agree. FCOM, okay, great. Thanks, Chris, really appreciate it. That was really great piece of trivia. Yep. No, Chris is absolutely right. Totally agree. And brilliant that fly-by-wire had that implemented. Anyway, 370. Should have been paying more attention to that. So we're just in the top of this layer. Pretty typical sort of cruise. Let's go. And I would put TCAS to below, but I'm going to leave it on all. Should have the same effect. Bit of a systems check now then. And that's too much oil. You wouldn't normally see that much. Pressurization looking good. This is still a holding page by the looks of it. Electrics though worked nicely. We lost some electrics recently. There's our hydraulics. Oh, and those levels go up and down. I like that. I talk about hydraulics in that video I've mentioned a few times today. Fuel, we burnt 2,200 kilograms. So that's 6.3 plus 2,200 is 8.5. Exactly what we set off with. There's a jet set ahead of us. Excellent. APU's off. Temperature's 24. Too warm. Too warm. We'll be in trouble, especially on a holiday flight. Let's try that. Doors are all good. Wheels are nice and cool. We sat at the holding point. And flight controls are set. Great stuff. Ollie, that's going the wrong way. Oh dear. Fingers crossed you find your way back. Lauren V says, one slightly better thing about the Boeing is that you can just click to sew the flight plan together. Yeah, the Boeing flight plan, I really quite like how they do that, and the airways as well. Yeah, agreed. Brandon, I've had no trouble. The stars have shown up, I think. We'll find out today, though. There's no chopper descent in the Greek Badger that I've seen, and thanks for joining us. I'm glad he said Golf Tango Quebec, so I didn't catch Grotocon. Yeah, agreed. ETA should show up on the screen. We are running at live time though. I may make it a bit more daylight later on in the flight. 18:24, so 7:30. So it should be a nice sunset arrival, I think. I know we're heading south though, so the days are a little bit shorter, and we are past the longest day. Johannes B, thank you so much for your $11.85 donation. Really appreciate it, Johannes. Johannes says, every time I have ATC, I need to mute your stream. Can't concentrate on both, unfortunately. Now on Unicom, so I'm back. Thanks for the nice stream and keep up the great work. You're very welcome, Johannes B. Thanks for flying along. And yeah, it is difficult. I struggled as well with the ATC and streaming. So the streams I do where I've got ATC the whole way, I actually find considerably more tiring, of course. So yeah, I completely understand. But thanks so much for your donation. Thanks for supporting the channel as always, Johannes. Really, really kind of you. Ifan says, I usually fly Malaysian routes and there are missing SIDS and stars at most airports. Ah, that's a shame. Maybe I'll have better luck now. I've got Navigraph. Maybe it's because it seems like it's loaded in the database, which is good stuff. Did Gojet have a sim crash? Is Gojet doing alright? Tom says the plane isn't complete until it has PTU sounds. Yeah, everyone loves the PTU on the Airbus. Chris says, yep, and that's good, good. Sorry, I'm jumping up and down the chat like mad here.
Caledonian 45.
Rockon says, regarding pressurization, Stevio Kinevo, a fantastic channel, I'm a big fan, reported in one of his videos that he found a bullet hole in his TBM. I saw that video. Amazing, wasn't it? What consequences would a small leak have? Would you get an error message immediately? Great question, Rockon. It's one of those things that I wish I was qualified. I just don't know. It's going to depend on the size of the airplane and the strength of its pressurization. I don't know how the TBM pressurizes. I assume from bleed air, and nothing fancier than that. But I know, of course, it only has one engine. Check I'm not transmitting. No, I'm okay. Yes, so would a small hole... So the hole he shows, he got a bullet hole in his airplane, presumably from a bullet fired up in the air that came back down onto his airplane while it was parked up overnight, for those of you who haven't seen the video. And he was doing his walk around, and it's a much smaller general aviation airplane, but he was by the door, and he just before he got on, he decided to look down the top of the fuselage, and what he saw was a little dent. So he had a deeper look, and it was a hole that had punctured through the skin of the airplane and that had lodged in the insulation nut behind it. Amazing. So it was a great spot, obviously, and it was a lot of repair work, as you can imagine, because it may not have pressurized. With an airplane like the Airbus, this is a big airplane. So a hole like that, assuming that bullet holes are very rare, a hole of that size reminded me of a sort of hole you see after a lightning strike. So a lightning strike won't, lightning strike can cause a few electrical glitches, things like that, but airplanes are totally safe for it. They're designed for it. They're static discharge and all sorts, and they're very good. So a lightning strike, you've never heard, it's never happened, touch wood, of a modern airliner being hit by lightning and that causing a crash or anything serious to the aircraft. But it can cause glitches, so the aircraft might go and land somewhere. It's not ideal. You don't want to have a lightning strike as you take off and then fly for 12 hours, necessarily, depending on what you think. Anyway, the lightning will leave a burn mark potentially, and that can put a hole through the skin. So these airplanes, they're not like submarines. They're not perfectly sealed. You actually often on older aircraft in particular, there's some aircraft are more prone to it than others. You might see streaks coming back from things like doors, emergency exits, and it may be that it's coming from the just sort of grime around the seals, but it can also be just sort of a bit of a leak as sort of dirt is pushed out over the flight from pressurization and so on. The main thing I want to get to is the outflow valve. It's back here. Is it animated now on the A32NX? Because it looks like an actual panel. I'll have to have a look after we land. Anyway, the outflow valve is huge. It's a big pipe basically, and the air is just pumped in from those engines, and then the outflow valve will pretty much close in flight and let a bit of air out. So the airplane pressurizes by pumping in loads of air. Some of it's recycled, but a lot of it just slowly gets worse. I don't know what the proportions are. There's a lot of airflow through the cabins. That's why they're quite safe for COVID transmission, because they're actually quite well ventilated and they're full of filters. But anyway, my point is, air is always flowing out of the airplane. A small hole the size Steve showed, I can't imagine having any real detrimental effect on the pressurization of the airplane, because it's probably smaller than the hole that we already have. So maybe the outflow valve would have to close up a little bit more to compensate, possibly. That, however, is a complete guess. I'm not qualified, and you certainly wouldn't take that risk, but it's just, it's just some of those things. If you're in a more simple airplane than an Airbus or something smaller, like Steve in his TBM, in a very complex, very modern airplane, where the caution would come is a question I really don't know. You'd probably notice it as part of your pressurization checks. When you're looking at the pressurization page, you might see something unusual whilst you're climbing, and then eventually you could get a caution if the airplane couldn't hold pressure. Anyway, that's a really long answer, so I do apologise. Russell says, is it correct that in the cruise, Airbus fine-tuned desired airspeed with small alterations to pitch, as opposed to the fadeout continuously surging the power plants? Absolutely, Russell. That's what outcruise is. So you see outcruise is here, and you see that we're going up and down gently. So the thrust should stay the same. I haven't actually looked at the fly-by-wire to check it's doing the right thing. So what you find is, we cruise along like this, the thrust will settle at like 81.9, you see that exactly, and the airplane will try and sit at 37,000 exactly. What will happen is you'll get a bit of a change, so the wind change, temperature change, whatever it is, and the airplane may climb or sink a bit. The airplane may lose or gain a bit of speed whilst trying to maintain altitude. If it loses speed, the airplane will actually gently let it sink a tiny bit, think it's up to 150 feet. So it will sink down and it will climb as well. I think it's 150 feet. Sounds like quite a lot, but it's not too bad. And what it does is it tries to keep the engines at the same power setting, on the basis that when that wind changes again, it can then climb back or whatever it needs to do whilst keeping the thrust exactly where it is. It only does it up to a limit though. So you'll find yourself flying along like this, and then it will sink down to 150 feet, and it will sit there, and you'll be looking at it going, oof, well the thrust is still sitting at 81.9, which comes to 82.0 now. And it's still sort of gently descending, so you know what's coming, and you'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden you'll feel the engine suddenly change thrust, and the airplane, as soon as they change thrust, the airplane resets itself, so it goes back to 0, 0. So you might be at, you know, 36,850, and then suddenly you'll get an increase in thrust and it'll pitch up. So it's quite funny. It can make you think the airplane's trying to do a sudden climb. Yeah. But yeah, basically, Russell, you're right. Short answer, you're absolutely right.
Down at 150, times about 660.
John says, on the VATSIM website it says you need to ask permission to declare a mayday. This breaks the realism for me, so I don't bother. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's probably just to avoid everybody doing it for fun. Whenever it's time to log out. Or go for dinner.
Jetset 285, left ATC, Malta Unicorn 123, bye-bye.
Richie Ray says, does it elicit the same alertness when you hear the mayday calls in VATSIM? I've heard mayday calls in real life. They make you definitely listen, and there's not a lot you can do, but most importantly you want to make sure that that aircraft can get its messages across to air traffic, so you don't want to start a conversation about shortcuts or something like that when there's somebody on the frequency with an actual issue. So yeah, but I've never heard, I don't think I've ever heard, I have heard one of VATSIM, but I haven't heard it, you know, whilst flying along like this. Chris says, don't ask for any more Airbus trivia, we've exhausted my set. Thanks Chris, but it's very good trivia, and I'll see if I can find something to ask you. Connor says, do you have any other favourite pieces of Airbus trivia pub quiz facts that you think most people don't know? Well, in the same vein as Chris Dowling's one, and I haven't tried it, well this doesn't have holding, but if you're in the hold in a 320, even if you're sitting above profile, again this doesn't have that, so this is more a Toliss thing. If you're in the hold and then you go manage descent, instead of diving down to meet the profile like you might expect it would for a small change, it will actually do 1,000 feet per minute. Yeah, so you can just use manage descent mode in the hold, which is quite clever, because it knows you don't want to dive down whilst you're holding. And when you're holding, you're not going to have a height issue because you're going in circles, so you've got loads of time. Hotshot says, you'll enjoy the future when hydraulic elect pumps have displacement, so you can move ailerons and hit the blue elect pump change pitch. I'm trying to figure it out. Wow, very good. I think I've only ever done that in real life once or twice, where we have to move the flight controls using those pumps, but that'd be great fun. I've got the dev build code one of the A32NX. Adnan says, having never flown a jet in the sim before, your videos have helped my learning curve within a week so much that I'm flying the NEO on VATSIM. Brilliant, that's great to hear. There you go, so it's taken Adnan a week. Tom says, I experienced a lightning strike in a Boeing 737, kind of freaky. Yeah, they're quite surreal, it can be quite scary and loud, but no, they're totally fine. Deep Future says, does the aircraft warn you of a lightning strike? No. There's no system to detect it, but you should know about it. Not always though, they have happened without people realising. Russell says, I think the Airbus electronics monitor the average position of the outflow valve and may give a warning. Later Airbus has AI built into systems. Good as me. I don't know if that's true or not. That would be amazing. Richie Ray says, can lightning recharge the batteries of the airplane? Sadly not. First Officer Jaden, good to see you.
402 Foxtrot at flight level 390.
Chris says, that said, some of the more modern Airbus weather radars can show areas of lightning hail. Yeah, no, they're very good. Again, sadly, they do sort of work in here. Let's when there's no terrain for now. Terrain comes later. This one is just using the flight simulator weather, so we can turn up the gain. Oh no, it doesn't work. So yeah, the weather radars in simulators, they tend to be a little bit unrealistic. Thanks, Ivan. Glad you enjoyed the channel. Fly24 says, my frame rate got me disconnected from VATSIM. I've tried a few things, but looks like I'm going to take a backseat on this one. Enjoy the stream. Okay, thanks, Fly24. Are you still going to fly along offline? Thanks to Dewald DeWet for your subscription.
A32NX Freight Tango, it identified, cancel level 240.
Sharp says, as a nervous flyer and without turning your stream into a fear of flying course, would you mind explaining what happens when an aircraft hits air pockets and drops suddenly? Yeah, sure. It's. I mean, air pockets is.
Uniform 12228, bye bye.
122.8, jet set 284, bye bye. Okay, run Unicom. Okay, so, yeah, I highly recommend go to one of the airlines that runs a fear of flying course. In the UK, I know EasyJet and British Airways do, but there's probably more out there if you're a nervous flyer. But anyway, one of the important things to remember is definitely that turbulence is not dangerous to an aeroplane. So when you feel those pockets of air and you get shaken around, it is exactly the same as being on a boat over a wave. The airplane just is designed to handle it, and it's never dangerous to the airplane. Turbulence just isn't. So a pocket of air, you know, like we're flying on now, so we could fly through wake turbulence from another airplane. Very rare. Wake turbulence is the most severe. So the scariest turbulence that you probably feel would be a wake turbulence. And I only say scariest in the sense that it's the most sudden, because it will be probably smooth air and then suddenly it starts shaking. Same thing for normal clear air turbulence. We could be here now in turbulence for the whole flight. You wouldn't know. There's no logic behind it sometimes. It doesn't have to be associated with terrain. It can just be exactly that clear air turbulence, just random turbulence that you're dealing with. And it will shake you up and down. But remember, look at the size of the airplane. Okay, so if you're sat here and the airplane goes 2 feet up, a 2 feet change in height of this airplane is nothing. You really wouldn't see it because it's a big machine. You'd feel it though, because 2 feet. Imagine 2 feet. If your chair just suddenly went up 2 feet in the air and then back down again, you'd feel it. But to the airplane, it's just nothing. Like, it really is a non-event. It can feel exciting on the inside because you'll see the wings bouncing, but the wings are exactly designed to do that. If they were completely rigid, I can tell you what it would be. It would be even more uncomfortable because there'd be no suspension. The bending wings is like suspension. They're entirely designed to do that. The more they're shaking, the more they're doing their job, and that's what they're there for. As I said, turbulence will never take the wings off or anything like that. They are designed to do it. So yeah, you'll be sitting there watching an airplane. If we could put a camera outside this airplane and fly it through moderate turbulence, and moderate turbulence, by the way, you'd be surprised as a passenger the different levels of turbulence. We report turbulence to other pilots that are in the area. We're obliged to. So if we think we've flown through moderate turbulence, we'd have to report it. And like I say, sometimes you get up into the cruise like this and you find out that everyone's reporting light to moderate turbulence everywhere. I can guarantee that most people would think moderate turbulence is severe, but in terms of the way we categorise it, moderate is really quite noticeable, and yet it's still not even considered severe. And even severe turbulence is not a problem. We just have to tell people, get the airplane, get an inspection when it gets on the ground to make sure it's okay and everything like that, but it's not an issue. And I've seen severe turbulence, I've seen it once in over 10 years, and I would even say when I saw it I wasn't scared. Pilots won't be scared in turbulence. They will just be looking for a solution, trying to find a smoother level of air, trying to adjust the speed to make sure that we don't overspeed or underspeed or anything like that, and trying to make sure we don't have to fill out any paperwork. But if you go through severe turbulence, it's too late. But yeah, your pilots, if you don't hear from them, they'll be busy. They'll be sorting out the paperwork, trying to find a different flight level. I understand people want to hear PAs during turbulence, and that's something I'm trying to do more, but I've not really had the chance, not flying now. But yeah, I think it's good. And on short haul, you're not disturbing anyone to speak to the passengers because usually people aren't asleep. But yeah, I can guarantee the pilots aren't even slightly nervous about turbulence. They'll just be looking for a new level, and probably it's just annoying. That's what it is. It's like if the sea was choppy one day when you're trying to do a ferry crossing. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just how it is. But yeah, the airplanes are easily designed to withstand it. Some dude in Sharon says, I didn't get to hear your answer on the jokes on 121.5 like in the US. People constantly speak on guard and everyone meows or yells guard. Does that happen in the UK and EU? I don't hear constant talking, no. You don't hear talking on guard. It's very rare in the EU. What you do hear is, you very rarely hear meowing, yeah. It doesn't usually go down very well though. But no, don't hear many jokes. No. Hotshot says, RE flight control pumps. The blue elect pump is always on, so you'll always hear it change pitch in real life if you sit over the wing during a flight control check when the slats come out. Ah, very good. I haven't noticed. That's excellent. We're getting lots of good Airbus trivia here. Because, of course, yeah, the blue pump, for those of you who don't know, so we've got 3 hydraulic systems. I believe the 7.3 only has 2, so there you go, we win, but we don't have cables. Green is 3,000, yellow is 3,000, blue is 3,000 psi. But green and yellow are run by engine-driven pumps, these here. And yellow can also be supplied by an electrical pump. Blue system runs entirely on an electrical pump, but it can also be powered by the ram air turbine. So that's what we've got. Green can only be supplied by the engine or the power transfer unit, which is funny because green is my favourite system. If you look at the flight controls, green supplies an elevator, both ailerons, some of the speed brakes, the rudder, the pitch trim. So with green you keep everything. But you could be on any one of those hydraulic systems and fly the airplane very safely. Plumbit says, I love Turbulence, it breaks up the boredom. There you go, some people do enjoy it, bit of a roller coaster. There's no VNAV yet, Tommaso, sorry. Chris Dowling says, weather radar RDR 4000 on the NEOs for the hail lightning spotting. Yep, absolutely, the newest one, yeah, it's really good. On the newest weather radars, instead of having this is a very old, you wouldn't see this on a NEO, this panel here. You'd actually have one that lets you choose a flight level, so you can do lots of things with it, but it scans all the levels all the time, so then you select the level you want to see on the screen. So you put, let's say we're cruising at 37, so I want to see if there's any weather near me for my cruise, so I'll put sort of 340 and it will say on here flight level 340 under weather, and that way you'll know that you're looking at the weather beneath you. Yeah, that's great. Stephen Malcolm says, I'm happy dealing with ATC and the Toliss. I was slightly worried that Edmonton would come on during the DC-6 flight to Norman Wells. Yes. Yeah, we need to... I'm going to get that DC-6 in the air again. I'm looking forward to that. I want to do a few fun things with that. And we're going to get the livery. Here we go. So this is some good turbulence. So I can't immediately make a PA. I've got to... It's already calmed down. I've got to solve the problem. So first of all, we'd slow down slightly so that we're not near that red bar. GD says, oh, that's interesting to see. When was the hydraulics activated? A few weeks ago now. I've been meaning to do a video on it. Richie Ray says, do pilots turn the plane around when toilets are clogged? That would depend entirely on the flight and the situation. Yeah, that's a definitely discussion you'd have to have, though. Right, so yeah, bouncing around, but quite rare. Lager YouTube says, I know, but it's not intuitive for someone only familiar with aviation as a passenger. Having gotten into flight simming, I'm much more aware of it being a good feature. Ooh, which feature was that? Checkpoint says, what doesn't bend will break, so it's good they're flexible. Yeah, exactly, the wings, yeah. And I get it. I used to be nervous of turbulence before I was a pilot. A lot of people struggle with the control side of things, knowing that... especially now the pilots are locked away, so you don't get to see them. But that's why you should be even more reassured. They're locked away at the front, sealed box, doing one thing only, and that is flying the airplane safely and calmly. First officer Jaden, what you need to do is pull or push the altitude knob, and it will climb, either open climb or managed climb. Depends what you want to do. The TCAS Pool W, I think it will work with that sim, but I don't know on that one. Lager YouTube says, I sat in a 747 over the Atlantic once, had turbulence. I felt fairly secure, but I did not recommend looking outside, seeing the wingtip bent 10 feet above the fuselage and then 10 feet below the fuselage. Yes, the 747 had massive great wings and of course a big engine out there, so it really exaggerated the effect of turbulence. It's not very bad pronounced on the 320, but long-haul aircraft you'll see the wings bending a lot more. The wings do bend on a 320 though, there's no doubt about it, so you can see it there. Chris says, turbulence is mostly a problem because it makes spilling my coffee more likely. We have come full circle. Yes, exactly, Chris. Chris is spot on. Turbulence will always hit just as you're putting that coffee, to just up to your lips to get a sip. That's when turbulence will hit. And of course, it will be the hottest cup of coffee that you've just started, and it's a full cup. That's how it works. Sven says, regarding pressurization, the 737 has this whole setup in the upper part, setting it to manual or automatic. Where does the Airbus have that, or can't you do it? Great question, Sven. You've done it now. Pressurization trivia incoming. That's this panel here, cabin press panel. So if I want to control it manually, I can press mode select in manual. It won't work because the press panel doesn't work, but I could go onto here and I can see the cabin altitude and the climb and descend, and I can adjust it using this. I can set the landing elevation manually. Yeah. Good system, works quite well, but the fact is, by default we leave it running properly. None of this swapping it over after landing and all this nonsense. No, it's just that the panel's always on, because it's such an important panel. You don't want to take off with it in the wrong mode. If one of the computers breaks that automatically controls it, you can actually swap over the system. I may need Chris's help here. System 2, there you go. See, it says System 2. So in the real aircraft, you wouldn't do it like this in the cruise unless there was... Well, no, you wouldn't do it. It swaps over after landing. It swaps from System 2 to 1 so that it alternates which pressurization system is used or to run it automatically. On the ground, if you have a problem with one, as part of an MEL, for example, you might need to swap it over to the correct system using this button, manual and then auto. You wouldn't do it in flight because if this system failed, it would automatically swap over to the other system, which I have seen happen. Buki says, when a first officer gets promoted to captain, how long does it take to get comfortable taxiing the plane? Well, in the Airbus, everyone taxis. Because the Airbus doesn't have any cables or linkages, it's just running on an electrical switch. It's got a tiller on both sides, so you have to get comfortable with it as soon as you start flying it, basically. So the only difference going to captain is swapping hands. If you're in an aeroplane that doesn't have a tiller on both sides, then it just doesn't take long. You taxi little airplanes, and taxiing airliners is an absolute joy. They're really nice. Just in the wet or slippery conditions is a bit more interesting. Mark, thank you very much for your £2 donation. Really appreciate it. Mark says, hey, love the content. What's Trupo on the MCDU? I'm guessing that's a waypoint. But thank you so much, Mark, for your £2 donation. Really appreciate it. What's Trupo? What do you mean, Mark? Do say again, and I'll try and, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what you mean, so I do apologise. But thanks very much for your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you to DH for your $3.33 donation. DH says, hello, thanks for all your content. I enjoyed it a lot. A question, do you have a particular aircraft that's your favourite? I mean, since you fly the A320 in real life, is there a particular A320 at your airline that you prefer to fly to the others? Great question. So thank you very much, DH, for your $3.33 donation. Really appreciate it. Right. Favourite airplanes? Yes. Yeah, I have... It depends on the size of your airline. So I've worked at a few different sizes, and if you're in an airline where you're in a small base and you've got only a few airplanes to choose from, then you can start to prefer some over others just by natural. If you're at a larger airline, then you won't get that choice because you'll just constantly fly different airplanes, so you'll never spend enough time in one particular airframe to really care. So what it becomes more about is the fit of the airplane. It's like being in you know, an older car and a newer car with more features. So the newer ones, like a NEO, is a nicer machine to sit in. It's quieter, it's got fancier weather radars so you can see the weather more clearly, and they're lovely. But all Airbuses are nice offices to fly from, no doubt. But yeah, you do generally, especially if you fly the same few airframes over and over again, then you'll start to pick up a favourite. I've had favourites. I had one that I was convinced was faster than the others, and I managed to convince other people as well. But I have no idea. I mean, I'm certain it wasn't true. In fact, I don't. It's not that I have no idea. I know it's not true, but in my mind, it felt like a quicker aeroplane. I think Mark means the tropopause. Ah, okay. That'll be on a knit tropo. Is that what you meant, Mark? If that is, that's the tropopause. So thanks very much to Kai for spotting that. The tropopause is where, as you climb, from the ground, you know the temperature on the ground was, let's say, 15 degrees. As you climb, the temperature drops by about 2 degrees. It varies, but it does drop as you climb. Sometimes it goes up for a bit and then down, and it's called an inversion. But normally, the higher you go, the colder it is outside. So in the cruise, the static air temperature, which is the still air temperature, that's just the air outside. If you were standing there, that's what it would feel like. It's minus 50 degrees Celsius outside. So it gets colder and colder. What happens is, you'll notice it was minus 50 for a few thousand feet, because eventually, as you keep climbing, you'll get to a level where that temperature will stop reducing, and that's called the tropopause. It's quite significant. We usually fly above the tropopause, but not always. In Europe and the northern latitudes, the tropopause is lower. As you go further south, it's higher, because the atmosphere on the Earth isn't all the same. Near the North Poles, the atmosphere is a bit more dense and a bit lower down. It doesn't spread out as far. But around the equator, because of the spinning of the Earth, the atmosphere goes further out into space, basically. I am so unqualified to talk about this. But anyway, that's roughly what it does. So the point at which that temperature, it drops, and then reaches the point where it stops dropping. The point where that is lower, further north, higher at the equators. The significance of that is we fly above it, usually, but you can be below it. And what it does is thunderstorms and clouds will typically grow below it, up to the tropopause. So if I see the tropopause at flight level 32,000 feet, then I can expect thunderstorms to reach 32,000 feet and a bit more. If you've got a tropopause at 45,000 feet or even 50,000 feet down by the equator, then you can expect thunderstorms that quite happily grow all the way to 50,000 feet without too much effort. Now they can punch through the tropopause because there's so much energy in a thunderstorm, you can't even believe it. So they can quite happily punch through and get into the higher layers. So you can't get comfortable, but that's what it is. And its significance to the aeroplane is just for performance reasons. We tell it that it knows where that temperature should reach, because we tell it that the cruising temperature is minus 52, so it will calculate it based on the tropopause where it knows it should stop and then reach minus 52, that sort of thing. But yeah, so that's what the tropopause does, and it has a huge effect on thunderstorms, but you can't rely on it. Coming up to the Alps now, actually. Survey says Helios flight 522 ended in tragedy when the pilots took off with the pressurization set to manual instead of auto. Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. And just a piece of design. Yeah. And several other things, of course. Yes, Tropo says Mark. There we go. Hopefully that's answered it. Stephen says the knob marked ditching is a bit alarming. What's that about? I'm going to have to do a video on pressurization, I think. It's clearly a good topic. So ditching is what, you'll remember it from the Sully's Hudson water landing. This button, if you press it, will seal up the things underneath the airplane where water could get in. So we've got a few holes on the bottom of the airplane. There's like avionics vents blasting air in and out and through the avionics. You've got air conditioning pack inlets and outlets. And you've got the outflow valve at the back of the airplane. So what pressing that button does is it just seals all these things up so water can't get into the airplane, and it should help the airplane stay afloat for longer. I don't think, in the Sully case, they didn't actually have time to press it and the airplane still seemed to stay afloat quite nicely. So, yeah, that's what it's for. We actually use it, if we de-ice, we'll press it to make sure that the airplane doesn't suck in de-icing fluid if the engines are running and so on. It just seals up all the holes so that it doesn't get into the packs and things like that and into other bits. Yeah. So we, funnily enough, although it's got quite a scary name, we use it quite regularly during de-icing. It's part of the de-icing checklist. Lager says, did you guys ever have a software failure and had to turn it off and on again mid-air? Would you have to reprogram the MCU? Your last video with the essential bus fail brought that question up. You shouldn't have a failure in flight that would lose the entire MCDU. But is it possible? Probably. Would it be a big deal? No. We don't need the MCDU. If I turned both of these off now, we would fly quite happily. It would fly along in heading and whenever we needed to. We just lose nav mode and so on. So no problem. No great shakes. We can tune through the backup navigation. We can tune a VOR, go and fly an approach and an RNS. You know, it's all possible. Resetting things in flight is a huge topic. You've got to be very careful. there's only certain things we're allowed to reset. So some things break, we're not allowed to try and reset them, because if you do a reset, sometimes the system does a sort of self-test, and that can be damaging, and it has caused crashes before. So big no-no to just resetting. Only if it's absolutely necessary for the safety of the flight would you even try, and you'd try by following the procedure for the specific thing if it's allowed. And they're very clear. Some things will say on ground only, stuff like that. Kai says, I was meaning to ask you the same question about Tropo. Thank you. No, you're very welcome. Russell says 787 doesn't use bleed air for pressurization, pure electric compressors. Yeah, it's very clever, as we found out on my 787 video, if any of you are interested. Thanks for watching, everyone, though. I'll just do a friendly reminder for the likes if you are enjoying. They make a like will make a big difference to our channel, so I really appreciate it if you are enjoying it. Hayden J. Robbins says, are the MCDUs developed by different companies for the sake of resilience? No, because they're not that important. The flight control computers are, using different architectures, different companies, all sorts of things. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Good question, though, Hayden. Thanks for the likes, everyone. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. Glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for your help. Gareth says, hello, great stream again. In your day job, could you start your shift starting on an A321, for example, and change to a different variant your next destination? That is entirely possible for any airline that uses the family. Yeah, there's no restriction on flying different Airbus short-haul family, one after the other. There are some airlines that will have restrictions, but the Airbus family, 19 to 21, wow, that is pretty bad. So we'll come back to decimal 76. That is, now this is, I've never seen turbulence like this in the cruise, but you'll see even the autopilot has kept itself. So all we can do is do the severe turbulence speed, which is decimal 76 in this airframe. It's slightly different in different aircraft, some of the 21s. You'll see we're getting large altitude changes. You'd really feel the G-force. You can see the G-load got displayed, so it must have reached a fairly high G-force. I've never seen that in the cruise. Is it possible? I'm sure it is. Is it dangerous? No. But I can definitely see why it would be unnerving. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator giving us the old Alps treatment. Again, I fly over the Alps regularly, or I used to, and did not experience this level of turbulence every time. So I think it's slightly, I think their very clever ground sort of terrain interaction is slightly exaggerated, put it that way. Savage Haters, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Richie Ray says, do pilots fly through or fly around thunderclouds? Always around. Thunderclouds we do avoid, absolutely. Now, just if you see lightning outside the airplane, don't worry, it's absolutely fine. It'll be because your pilots are avoiding it. And the reason you can see it is because it's off out to the side of the airplane. That's the whole point. And lightning can also be quite... it can look like it fills the whole sky when it doesn't. Because obviously, at night, one piece of lightning in a cloud will fill the whole area. So if you're in a cloud that's next to a cloud with lightning, you can sometimes get that effect. But no, we'll avoid it. Checkpoint says, you must have trained for that tropopause explanation. No, I was just about managing to remember it from when I did my exams. You don't talk about it much since. Right, bouncy bounce, yeah, indeed. Seatbelts, good point, York, yeah. That'll be the first thing you do. Kai says, congrats on 45,000 subs. Thank you all so much. Yeah, we did 45,000. Big moment, really. So we're working towards that Concorde flight. Thank you all for subscribing. Thanks for watching along. Hayden, thanks so much for your £3.20 donation. Really appreciate it. Hayden says, did you ever think you'd be approaching 50,000 subs? No way. No way. Not even close. I made the bulk of my videos, that, you know, my Toliss videos were made with a few hundred, not even that. And we would go up sort of 1 or 2 subscribers a week. You know, it was great. It was all fine. I enjoyed it. But to think then that we'd be sitting here now doing 50,000, I thought I'd be back at work and just ticking along the channel when I could. I really didn't think it'd be... I didn't think I'd be at home this much still, but also I didn't think we'd have this many viewers coming along. No way. Russell says, do you gauge the level of turbulence for how loud the passengers are screaming? No, luckily we... I don't think I've ever heard that. No. No. If you hear that, you'll definitely make a PA to reassure people, of course. Right. Tyler says, have you done any VR flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, or for that matter in any other sim? If so, how do you like it? I have done VR flying in DCS, Flight Simulator 2020 and X-Plane. I've struggled with X-Plane. I didn't quite work it out properly. I know other people are very good at it, so I'm a bit lazy. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've done it. I love it. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's just terrible for videos, and I spend a lot of my time making videos or streams, so I don't usually sit down and get to enjoy the simulator too much. I'm not going to say I don't get to enjoy it, because I get to make the videos and see these great airplanes and great add-ons, and I get to try them out and preview them for you guys. I've got a new preview coming soon, which I'm excited to show you all. But you know, I'll be busy doing that, so I don't tend to do much VR flying. But every time I do it, I really enjoy it. I tried it out in the DC-6 the other day, which was great fun. Although I did have some weird sort of jelly issues. DCS taking off on an aircraft carrier and the F-14 in VR. Oh, absolutely amazing. Just love that. Manta256 in the lead has chosen the Liga 1 Romeo, so I assume 3-4 is what we're all using. Okay, so there's a VOR approach. Talking about VOR on the brain. There's a VOR onto the southerly runway, which has a bit of a sharp turn onto final, but if the winds are for 3-4, we'll do that. Thanks, Hayden, appreciate it. Laggett says, when you're back flying regularly, fingers crossed, will you continue streaming? Has this stream helped you offset the code break? I will definitely be streaming still, absolutely. No, I enjoy it too much. I was away from Flight Simulator for a little bit for the last few years, and it's been really nice to come back to it. Kevin says, do you think they make a Concorde for Microsoft Flight Simulator? Oh, they will. One day they will. It will take a while, but it will arrive. Savage Haters, who makes the MCDU for the 320 NEO? It depends. There'll be different manufacturers. Not of each one, if you see what I mean, but there's different manufacturers of the MCDUs. I assume that's still the case. It was at one point. Richie Ray says, flying in real life and the subscribers are his passengers. Wouldn't that be good, eh? If we could get... So we've got 45,000 subscribers. So I wonder how many flights we could get. Control number 1. Thanks, Deep Future. I'll try that out. Because the jelly issue is only in the DC-6, and the DC-6 gives me really good performance in Flight Simulator. So I don't know what's causing it. I wonder if it's because I've set the frame rate limit to about 25 FPS so that I can record video smoothly. Maybe that's what I've done. Brandon M says, the pilot's here, flight attendant announcements in the cockpit. Yes, yeah. On the ground, definitely. We can also listen to them in flight. It's a bit harder to hear them in flight, though. You won't hear the actual speaking. Sorry for the stuttering. Yeah, YouTube seems to be a bit upset. I've got no reason on this end why. Refreshing the stream seems to help. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I don't know why. What I'm going to do, thanks to Lauren, we'll get the charts ready. So how do I bin those ones that I'm no longer using? I don't know. The bin logo's not there. There it is. Yeah, you can tell this is in beta. There are some issues. Major buffering for Dougal. Oh dear. There's, sorry everyone. Sorry, First Officer Jaden. I'll try and explain those controls under the ECAM in the descent, but I might not manage. I'm running it. I've got to get the approach set up. But if there is time, I will try. Right, let's select LFKB. Charts. It's okay now. Good. Fingers crossed. Right. Close Stansted. Bring up the charts for LFKB. And we are coming in via Liga. Let's see which one's going to be right. So these are all for this fancy approach, which is good fun, but I don't think we're going to have to do today. Which one were they doing earlier? Pilot PD, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Pilot PD recently started streaming. So, yeah, part of the Simwings community as well. So thanks for coming along, Pilot PD. Yeah, Nicholas says, I thought the FMGS and the Airbus had 2 versions made by Toliss and Honeywell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Oh, I've totally forgotten. I had to read it out a second ago. Well, I'm just going to pin all the 3-4 arrivals. Now, 3-4 should be good fun as well with the terrain on the left. What do you guys want to do? I don't think it's going to make too much difference, but if I do the VOR, it'll be a very involved approach and I'll be very busy. And I can't promise it will work out first time, and if it doesn't, then I'll go and do the ILS. But that's an option. The alternative is we do the ILS with everybody else. If we do the VOR, I may have to disconnect from VATSIM so that I can go the wrong way compared to everybody else. So you guys tell me, what do you fancy? The VOR onto with a bit of a... let me show you the chart for the VOR to show you what I'm talking about. I think I know the answer to this. This is the VOR. So you come in, massive great final approach at a complete angle and do this sort of, not quite a circle to land, but it's a visual prescribed track with a bit of a level off in to land. So you tell me what you think. And we can talk through it. So those are the options. In the meantime, I'm going to print out the weather and just check there's no ATC. Don't think there is. Nope. We'll send that. Get our alternate weather as well. So Brandon wants the VOR, Richie Reeves wants the first officer to land it. Which is, yeah, that's a good idea. VOR from Savage Haters, Dara wants VOR, Bob wants the VOR. Come on. Come on, somebody vote for the RS. Maybe even an auto lands. Carl wants the RS, excellent. It's definitely going to... The VORs have it at the moment. But again, may disconnect from VATSIM, so I can apologise for those of you who've flown along if that does happen. Right, there's the printout. What's the weather looking like? Just to check we can do this. 070 at 5. Even a bit taily for that approach. But we have the option to do either. Autoland says, George, good to see you, George. Savage wants the first officer to do it, yep. Russell says we'll go with your experience. RS for Jaden. Kai wants the VOR. VOR. Duke wants the RS. Oh, we got more RSs. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. And then I'm going to stop taking votes. And we'll count them up. So once that reaches 30, and you guys have seen 30, that'll be it. Yeah, big swap to the RS. It's going to be beautiful either way. This is, and I've got Orbeck scenery. I'm looking forward to it. There's 30 seconds. Just going to check that's what you guys have seen. Right, so what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Well, that's it. It's easily a win for the RSs. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, with the weather as it is, the RS is more appropriate. So, The only difference is what we would do for this is you'd fly in and just do a little bit of a right-left. We've done it before on the channel. My favourite one we've done is the Reggio Calabria. I get that wrong every time, which is really, really good. But yeah, being on VATSIM, it'd be nice if we can be with everybody else as everyone's taking the time to fly along. So I completely understand that. So let me just check how are we doing on spacing. And you never know, we might get a controller. I should probably have descended about 20 miles ago. We're about to go over the coast. Oh yeah, loads of traffic in front. Right, great, because if we all went to do the VOR, it would be a very slow day. Good, so RS Zulu, runway 34, no problem. Start being the Liga 5 November, I think that's what we were agreeing on, which should bring us out at the VOR. And then it looks like if there's no air traffic, we may have to procedurally fly the RS Zulu. So outbound at 147. So we can do. Oh, this would be good fun anyway, guys. This would be good fun actually. I'm going to have to tune in the VOR. And we'll do a proper procedural approach. So this should be good, because if everybody does this, everybody will come overhead in a line, outbound and inbound all at once. It would be great fun. In real life, they wouldn't send one person outbound until someone else was already inbound or on final, maybe even landed, so it can be quite slow, but we won't have to worry about that. Right, I haven't actually done an approach to this runway. 3 degrees slope, which is good news. Thank you for your subscription to Travis. Hope you enjoy the video. So that is the planned arrival. Right, let's get on with it, because I'm outrageously late. I'm going to put the progress page in, just check I don't need to descend already. Very close, yeah, no wonder it wants the data. RS34 Zulu. There is a way to make a poll, flight data sim, no secret. Yeah, I did ask flight data sim a while back actually. I'm terrible. 5 November. Via BTA, is that right? Where's BTA? Bastia VOR, absolutely. Nice that it does it automatically, that is what the Airbus does, I like that a lot. Here's a flight plan then. Let's check it looks right. Don't need to get too excited here. BTA, good. So that all worked. First section. And now let's just go to plan, zoom right in, and check. Oh look, it's even got the tune bit for the outbound and inbound. So we may be able to leave it in nav and just let it turn around, but we won't. We'll fly this. I'm going to fly this properly, selected modes. To do that, I'm going to need to tune a few things. So, to fly this VOR RS, it's called a VOR RS because it uses the, well, it normally is, RS Zulu. No, they're not calling it VOR. Anyway, I take that back. But we're going to use the VOR to fly the procedure. So, we're going to need the Bastia VOR 114.15. We're going to have that initially up there, and then we got the Bastia ILS 340 inbound course 111.35 tuned, so that's good stuff. We're going to get to the overheads. We can go straight outbound. I won't need to enter the hold. We'll go 147 in track FPA. We can do that from 5,200 feet over the VOR, descend to 3.4. After 9 miles, we can descend to 2.4, turn around, head inbound, intercept the ILS. So hopefully that'll work out nicely. Lots of really high terrain on our side, so we're going to be very careful. Massive MSAs. Look at that, 10,500 feet. On the side where we're going, and you can see here 5,200 within 8, so there is a bit of a break from it, a bit nearer in, but it is serious terrain. Look at these peaks, 5.2, 5.8, it's the highest one on this chart, but it goes even higher further out. So any speed limits, maximum 220 knots in the hold, minimum hold at 5,200, well we know that, that's this altitude there, 200 knots around that turn, so we can come overhead at 250 if we want. We're just going to go straight outbound, but I'll be slowing it down to 220 and then getting the speed below 200 knots and get some flap out as we come around this turn here. Inbound 2,400 feet is not too bad. That's a 7.5 miles out on the ILS, so by there we can be flap 1 but slowing down to flap 2. And then down the ILS, 3 degree approach, minima to put in. So flight plan we've done, radnav we've done, progress page we've done, perf time. Oh, this is so handy. I really like this. Let's do the minima then. We're doing a Cat C airplane 266. Minimize that, and then we'll go with the weather. LFKB is 070 at 5. So it would have been a tailwind to do that circling procedure anyway, so not realistic at all. We're going to do 28 degrees. It's really warm. Still don't need to leave the flaps out after landing. That's over 30 degrees. 1014 QNH. Transition. No, they don't write it on there ever. Let's just see what it would be normally for a departure. It would be 6,200. So I'm going to put 6,500. This is not accurate. It should be a flight level in there. I noticed that they've gone for, fly-by-wire have gone for the modern update on this software. It doesn't actually look like this on a lot of the Neos, or it depends on which Neo you're in. The 321 Neos do seem to ship with this version, where it actually one of them gets rid of this next phase, previous phase thing. It's all very strange, but it's a lot sort of cleaner. You get this OSF and so on. It does look slightly different. Yeah, it gets rid of these buttons and you have to use the arrows to do it instead. But this one seems to be a combination. Missed approach altitude if we need it. Climb straight ahead at VOR or below 2,000, at or below 2,400. And then turn right. So 2,400, low level off if we have to go around. Essentially though, the go around is turn right, we'll get to the VOR, climbing, then make a right turn, head outbound just to the right of north, up to 5.2, out to 7 miles, back round. So leaving some flap out for that turn, back to the VOR, enter the hold, and then you could go and do your approach again from there, which makes sense. So done flight plan, done radnav, done progress, done perf, all the way through. Done fuel, loads of fuel. Well, 1.3 extra now if we do that, because we've got to come the long way round. So we've definitely burnt some of that fuel we had. We had 2 tons at one point. I will check that shortly. Secondary not working. So that is the FMS setup. We've done a little bit of a brief. Now it's a case of figuring out when we want to descend. We don't need to descend instantly because, no surprise, we've got loads of track miles. We've got about 130 from even here. The airport's only 100 away. But 130, 72 knot tailwind, that's the real thing. So let's go back to manage speed. Just want to check the descent speeds actually. What is it planning on? 265 in the cruise, yes. 288 in the descent. Okay. It should actually give you a Mach number as well, what you start with. So I think it's time. Let's pick the first restriction on that star. 5.2, we can go down to below 140 at Tortu. Let's put 140 in. Thrust side open descent. George says, any reason to use Barrow versus radio? Normally we use Barrow unless we're doing a low vis approach. So anything up to Cat 1 we'll use Barrow. If it's really foggy and we're using category 2 or 3A approaches, then we'll use radio. Chris says, off to watch the Italy game with today's captain. Shame I can't stay to the end, but it's been great to see you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for coming along. And thanks for all your great information. Really appreciate it. John thinks it's rigged. Glad you're enjoying the video, Reese. Sorry, Kai. Kai really wanted the VOR. I don't know how to make... Oh, yeah. I thought make a poll would be difficult. No, it's incredibly easy. There is a button. I've got a button. I don't remember seeing that before. Yeah, the VORs did vote too many times. I can definitely see that. Thanks, Chenchen, for your subscription. Right, I missed a whole load of chat while I set it up. Next time we'll do a poll. I really apologise. I have never seen that button before. First officer Jaden says, where did you get the Navigraph approach chart? I had to download the beta. If you search on YouTube or Google it's better. You want the official Navigraph video which shows you how to do it, because it's very clear. It's a 4-minute video and it shows you how to install this, as long as you've got a Navigraph subscription. Yeah, there's lots of people have made videos on it, but the Navigraph video is really good, really short, really clear. If I made a video on it, it would be about a 45-minute video. Brandon says, what is AO2 sea level pressure? How different is it to QNH? I'm not sure, I must admit. That's beyond me. Sorry, Brandon. Ollie's having technical issues, no problem. Checkpoint says, will the FO join for approach, or is she happily dozing? I think she's dozing somewhere. Yeah, I haven't seen her at all today. Your average teenager, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the video. Savage Hater says, when do you switch between Mach and speed modes? Can you explain it? It's automatic in the real aircraft, but basically, we're descending, let's say we're descending at decimal 7.8 would be like a normal descent. So I put it to decimal 7.8. In the box, you've got a managed speed of 288. So when as we descend, the Mach number means that we'll have to keep increasing our indicated airspeed to maintain the same Mach number as we descend. So what happens is, eventually, to maintain Mach decimal 7.8, as we're doing, it will have to go at 288 and then quicker and quicker. So when it reaches 288, and you can see we're well over it now, that's when we would swap over, or the airplane automatically swaps over. But we can just press it whenever we feel like. So I could go to speed mode now if I wanted, because I know I want to be on the speed mode, really. Yeah, that's what we do. It's not a very precise thing. It's a bit of a judgment thing. Here's the island. Beautiful. Can't wait to get there. Take these lucky passengers on holiday. Thanks, Danny Rubel, for your $3 donation. Very kind. Thanks, as always, for supporting us, Danny. Danny says, looking forward to the landing, Captain. There is also an exciting game tonight. Belgium, Italy, to keep you entertained tonight. Very good. Yeah, thank you so much, Danny. Thanks for your $3 donation. I hope you're doing very well. And thanks for supporting the channel, as always. And I hope you enjoy the game. Plum says, is that a keyhole on the dashboard? No. Which one? No, there shouldn't be. Shouldn't be any holes. I'm not sure what that's meant to be. Lots of little holes and screws and panels on these glare shields. Grace and Moon, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. It's been a little while. Thanks for coming along. Danny Rubel says, I know you're not really into football. Well, not massively, I must confess. But thank you very much. And we've of course got more Formula 1 this weekend. It feels like it's every weekend these days. Lovely. Should be a nice sunset arrival. Might lose the sun behind the island on final though. We'll see if we need to increase sunlight. Right, definitely want to be on constraints now. How are we doing? Track miles, 80 miles to go. We're at 22,000 feet. So we need 60, 70. We need 80 miles. So I'd say we're spot on. Bit of a tailwind though, so we could be possibly a tiny bit high. I missed first choice in Air 2000 indeed, Reese. The other Jason says, would radio comms have been affected at all by the essential bus failure you had before? It didn't say so on the ECAM. Good question. You'd soon find out. You'd lose one of these panels. If you've got these panels and the transmit lights work, then I would have said no. But good question. Potentially, losing electrical systems can cause that sort of thing. Especially, I think, I'm guessing here, but I think the captain's side is run off of the AC Essential bus. Because in an electrical emergency config, when you only have the AC Essential bus, this and the DC Essential bus, this stuff still works. And it's only VHF1 that can transmit. So yeah. Checkpoint says, in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the ND shows the name of the ILS when LS is on. What does it show in real life? It should show, as we get closer, it should show ILS and the runway up here, or RNAV and the runway at the top of the ND. Yeah, it should tell you that. So you can use that as you're getting close in. When air traffic control says, right, you're clear for the ILS, runway 18 right. What you can do is, and what I do is, you look at the top of the nav display and you can check that it will say ILS 18 right, or whatever it is, whatever you're doing, and it will actually read it out there, which is incredibly useful. And it's especially useful for places with parallel runways, just to make sure you don't, if they've said left and you see that and it says 18 right, that's a good moment to pick it up and realise you've got it wrong. The Saxon project says, please check out the Stream Deck profiles for A32NX when you get a chance. I tried it this week and it integrates so well. No need to use the mouse of the MCU. That sounds amazing. What are the Stream Deck profiles and what's a Stream Deck? Is the Stream Deck hardware or software? I don't have one, if it is either of those. George says, been meaning to ask, you rooting for the Merc or Red Bull? Do you really want to know? That's it. Do you really want to know? See if that works. This is a test for the poll system. Stream Deck is hardware. Okay, no, I don't have that. I don't know how long the poll runs for either. Oh, I see. I can end the poll. Great. Thanks for that. That's a good one. Right, here's the island. We can see the traffic in front, which is great. So hopefully they'll head outbound. But you can see the VOR, I think the runway might be somewhere here. The VOR has to come in and then do a left turn onto the runway. You do a slight right and then a left to line up with the runway because of this terrain here. But we're going to cruise right over all of it. It's going to be a really beautiful approach, actually. I'm quite excited to do this one. Stream Deck is hardware. Loads of streamers use it to change OBS settings on the fly. Ah, thanks to the Saxon project. And you can use that for a... You can use that for a MCU. That's good to know. Lago YouTube thinks it's Aston Martin. Democracy in action, says JV. Yeah. Kimmy for the win, says Pavel. Lauren V says, I'm glad I won't be affected at all by this poll. It worked anyway. We have a poll. Yes, exactly, Kai. Would have been helpful if I'd done this earlier, wouldn't it? Right, well, I can tell you, but you've got to promise that no one's going to be upset or offended by my choice of Formula 1 team. First episode, Jaden, I have a video on the channel called How You Know When to Descend. So that's the way to go for that if you need help. There's that star. Anyway, so we should now go down to our 5,200. It's the next safe altitude. 5,200, there it is. Thrust open descent, out blue, flight level 52, onto QNH. 5,200. There we go, open descent. Potentially a bit high now. Going to use a little bit of speed brake because I don't want to accelerate because we'll catch up with our colleagues. Nicholas says, I did some calculations based on the replay song on Fly 24. When you get around to the replay, you should start it around 2,200 so that the song aligns with touchdown. Thanks very much. I'll try that out. That was 2,200 above the runway. Let's give it a go. Because I always struggle to know if that should work. Is that is that just to align? What part would that line with Nicholas? But thank you for taking the time to do that. I've been meaning to do that actually. I pretty much have been guessing. Let me load up the replay software because I totally forgot. So thank you for the reminder. Right, the poll is going to end now. So get your last votes in. Last votes in on the poll. Wade wants Alpine to win. Spill the tea. Hello, Victor. Thanks for coming along. Ed says, definitely use the Stream Deck. I use one all the time for the A32NX. Okay, I'll have a look. I didn't know that was such a thing. Can you do anything from the A32NX? Dougal doesn't promise. I'm leaving if it's not Ferrari. Ah, see, this is going to cause me problems now. The right point to activate the approach phase is whenever you feel it's suitable. But sometime after 10,000 feet before you're on sort of base leg. Oh yeah, we need to set up auto brake, by the way. I should have shown you the after landing charts. 2,500 meter runway, heavy airplane. We're going to go for medium. Maybe come off at Mike. Might create some space behind us. So there we go. I will report beacon outbound shortly. Right, poll's ending. We have, with 104 votes, 82% say yes, 18 say no. So that's ended. Yeah, so I'm going to be rooting for Mercedes. And I'll let that sink in. Right, let's... there you go, it gives you the results in the chat. Brilliant. Stream Deck XL is best, but the most expensive. Oh dear. Anyway, right, I must focus on this. Oh dear. There's lots of teams I like seeing do well. But in terms of who I want to win out of the potential options, purely from a fun perspective though, of course. Right, let's get the VOR displayed. So Bravo Tango Alpha. We're going a bit fast. I'm going to go full speed brake. You can see the approach phase is activated. And what I'm going to do now is that should take us straight to it. We've got the needle. And we need to head outbound on a course of 147. I'm actually going to keep the speeds at around 220 in open descents. Oh, it's great having the charts like this. Sorry, I'm going to go really quiet now on that bombshell about Hamilton. It's because of Lewis. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that as well, Ed. I have heard that. 81-18 split, that doesn't add up to 100. Yeah, I don't know. I've probably managed to find a way to do the poll wrong, but that's what YouTube said. So we've got traffic in front. We do need to slow down here, actually. Let's go manage speed, and we've got plenty of room. Let's slow down. So we're going to go to flap 1. We can do that here. Flap's going to 1. Then we'll come back to S speed. Let's get those landing lights on.
That's your traffic.
Seatbelt signs are on from the turbulence. Traffic vacating the runway. Good news. And we're about to head outbound on the 147. So what I can do, which I should have done earlier, is put 147 in here, because we're going to do this the old school way. I'm not going to rely on the lateral nav because we don't trust it. I'm going to go to VOR. I'm going to pull the heading and put it to track. I'm going to track towards that VOR, basically try and fly straight overhead. We're doing 190 knots, that should be fine. Get rid of the speed brakes now.
Bastia traffic, Caledonian 45 Bravo.
We're going to head outbound.
ILS 34.
We did have proper turbulence over the mountains, only that. Yep. The Van der Veen's not impressed. I think I know why. Oh dear. It was a landslide. Yeah, we'll definitely try out some polls later. Yep, goes back to work, and when asked for the QNH, presses B. Yeah, exactly. Right, passing over the VOR. Let's get onto that outbound track. No VOR lock mode in the Airbus, but I can just type it in, which is just as easy, really. 147, and we're down to 5,200 until we're out at... in fact, now we can go to 34. So down to 3,400. And just going to adjust the track to make that blue line up. Currently 2.5 miles out. Let's go flap 2. We need to slow down, which we are really close to that traffic. I mean, we're on top of them, basically. It's good that the TCAS is working so well now. There they are. Yeah, this isn't going to work. We haven't spaced ourselves very well. Trying to think what to do. What's the traffic like? Does anyone know what's the traffic like running behind us? In the meantime, what I'm going to do is run the approach checklist. Briefing is confirmed. Decap status is checked. Seatbelts are on. Barra ref 1014 set. MDA 266. And engine mode selector is to normal. Right, now we can go to 147 because we're in line. Out at 5.2 miles. Next step is at 9. Gonna need a bit of speed brake here. We're not descending quite as fast as I'd hoped.
Bastia traffic, Caledonian 45 Bravo, vacating at Echo, taxiing to ramp.
Oh, there's two traffics ahead of us. Goodness me. There's one there, and then there's the person inbound. I can't slow down much more than I am, really. Okay, DC Designs might be working on the Concorde and F-14. That's very exciting. I'll be very pleased about that. That'd be very good. Right. So how much distance have we got? That's 10, so 5. So we got 2.5. Now 2.5 is acceptable. It's just about possible if they're quick off the runway. So we'll give it a go, shall we? We'll give it a go. If we have to go around, we'll go around. We'll call go around flaps, head straight ahead, move the flaps in a stage, positive climb, gear up, get ourselves right, background and in. As we're running a bit early. Andy H1302, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Sorry I missed you. No, was Andy? Did I say hi to Andy? I do apologise. I'm getting confused. Good distance behind us. Okay. So we're going out to 13 miles. We can descend to 2,400 feet after 9 miles. So now down to 2.4. That's worked out nicely. Not 2.6. 2.4. Out to 13. Then a right turn to intercept that RLS 340 inbounds. Make sure we get the RLS displayed at this point. Would be definitely helpful. Got those landing lights on. Traffic in front. It's doing the turn already.
Corsica traffic 285, 1 mile, final runway 34.
How's this working out? So they're making the turn there. This could be good. This could be good. That's not good. No, we'll get the autopilot back in. So we're going to level at 2.4 with it really nice and slow. 13 miles, make that right turn for an intercept. Get your DMEs carefully sorted here. 13 miles on the BTA, not the RLS DME. So round we go.
2,500.
I'm going to swap this to RLS. The reason is I want to see the course bar so I know roughly what an intercept heading will look like. It's good to have the speed back here because, of course... that's no good. So the real airplane would be better than that. It wouldn't let itself get so slow. It should stay at the F speed quite aggressively. The autopilot's dropped out because we've reached Alpha Prot. Right, there's the autopilot back in. Yeah, the real airplane wouldn't surprise you quite like that. Beautiful, beautiful sunset behind the mountains. Exactly what I was hoping for. RLS is definitely identified.
Bastia traffic, easy 105.
It's going to do the same thing again, so I'm going to just pull the speed and force it up a little bit.
7 DME.
So the speed brakes are definitely in, which they are. Right, I'm going to arm the approach. Second autopilot. Cat 3 single, AP1+2. Glide set block blue. There's Cat 3 dual. And I'm going to bring it in towards a 30-degree heading, intercept. We're nice and low, so it should be quite easy to do. So it's about 310 degrees. Beautiful out there. Let's start the recording before I forget. It's going to be dark when you arrive, Ollie. Yeah, I can imagine it would be. Just in time for the approach, hot shot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would be good if the traffic could be on the navigraph. That would be great. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Definitely feels like a holiday place. There's Lockstar. Once it's done that turn, I'll allow it to use the managed speed mode again. And now we've got 5 miles. Thank you very much to that traffic in front. They definitely kept the speed up, which has really helped out. So we should be all good. Brilliant. Just to make sure we know what we're doing, we're landing with medium water brake on runway 34. Gonna have to roll along to Echo, really. There's no way to make a mic, obviously, so might disconnect those brakes and do it ourselves. We'll see. Reasonable weight though, 64 tons almost, so I'll stick with medium. It's only a 2,500 meter runway. Sadly, replay mode doesn't capture the M1. It's all over the place, which is really high. Yeah, I know. I can't wait for a proper default inbuilt one. You'll notice we can leave it in track FPA to fly the ILS. It's no problem. Or if we want, just to make that picture a bit more normal, press that and we get the normal crossbars. It really doesn't matter. If you go to go around, it will swap out of track FPA anyway. Because if you try to go around using this, it's not very helpful. But when you go to go around, it will go to heading vertical speed. It's very clever. Excuses are shorter runway, crosswind. I need to think of some. I haven't landed on this runway before. There we go. That's perfect. That's ideal. Right, initial go around altitude. Let's get that set as we go glide slope start. And it is initially 2.4, which we've got set. 6.7 miles out. Let's just configure now. So we'll go to manage speeds, gear down, arm the ground spoilers, put the nose wheel lights on. Remind me to reset the light as well for the replay, because otherwise it would be really dark when it wasn't. Flaps to 3. Flaps to full. Ding dong the cabin crew. Landing checklist. Cabin secured for landing. Water thrust is in speed mode. Go around altitude 2,400 feet. Set blue. ECAM mode. Landing there blue-ish. There it is. Landing there blue. That's the landing checklist complete. It wouldn't actually show flaps full until that one had gone green as well. But there we go. Yeah, the title on the right here, ILS/glide slope Cat 1 runway 34. Yeah, the Cat 1 I wouldn't have expected to see. Yeah, that seems a bit much. I'd have expected just ILS runway 34. That's what I'd normally see. But it does depend. Some airplanes have different fit and fancier things. We'll see with the Toliss, its new update. I've got a few things to talk about. Right, we're all ready for 1,000 feet. And Bastia traffic, jet set 284, final to land, 4 miles, runway 34. If you are watching and enjoying the video, do please hit the like button. It makes a big difference for us. Okay, the runway's vacated. Thank you so much for that EasyJet in front. Fantastic. That's really helped us out. We've all been sent around before by an airplane taking a little bit longer than you'd hoped to get off the runway. It does happen. Sometimes it can't be helped. The priority is for the airplane on the runway, obviously, not us. If we have to go around, no big deal. We can do it. Replay's definitely running. Oh, someone's going around. Oh, did they take off? Not sure. I love that. There you go. The shadow of the mountains just hitting us. Right. Let's give it a go. Autopilot off. Yeah, Orbeck scenery when we get on the ground. Looking forward to that. And just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And look at that go around in front of us. Doing a really nice go around as well. That gentle right turn towards the VOR. Sorry, from the VOR. 2 whites, 2 reds. Keep it in the middle. Not doing too much.
100 above.
Here it gets very sensitive. Don't fall for it.
Minimum.
Just by this point, you're just driving it into that, driving it towards the middle of the touchdown zone. Wind is slightly from the right.
100. 50. 40. 30.
30. Idle. Bit of left rudder.
5.
Oh, bit of a float. There's a touchdown. Get those reversers out. Let the medium water brake do its thing. Oh, that medium is going to be useful. There we go. Right, welcome to Bastia, Corsica. Hope you agree that was an absolutely lovely approach. Great fun to have the traffic management. Let's disconnect those auto brakes. And get ourselves off the runway. How did that work out? Was it butter as well? The plane is takeoff. Right, it wasn't a go around, it was a takeoff. There you go. Well, makes sense to head that way out. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please hit the like button. It makes a huge difference, as I say. Thank you to those of you who have. And here we go. We'll vacate left here. Finally, Air 2000 taking lucky passengers back on holiday again for the first time in 20 years. Okay, right. Well, we would normally turn off all the lights. We'd bring in the flaps, of course, start up the APU, but I'm not going to do any of those things because we need to use the replay feature. But I will taxi in and see some of our colleagues.
Bastia traffic, 8320, Phyllis, WLS, runway 34 at 7.5 miles.
And jet set 284, runway vacated, runway 34 at Bastia. So the runway's now clear for our colleague. I think the next EasyJet is our last colleague. Excellent. And they all lived happily ever after. Right, that didn't make sense. They all lived happily ever after. So yeah, lights would go off, radar would go off, so on. But yeah, as I said, for the replay, we want that to work. So we're going to go to 2,200 feet, but I need to hope that the cockpit does show that properly. We'll get rid of the ground spoilers because they would be down at this point, and they will be down for the replay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. I've had great fun. It's been great to get this livery back in the air. Great to have a chat with all of you. enjoy some of the spectacular scenery, you're going to go and see a really, really nice terminal here. And we'll try out a funky VOR next time. Maybe we'll fly back here. I mean, it's up to you, really. It's fun to have tried out a pole. I've never done that before, so that's going to be good for future. Sounds like the landing went well. So what did it come out with? 104 says First Officer Jaden. There we go, Jaden. Busy terminal. Everyone's here. Look at that. That's what we want to see. That is what we want to see. What I'm going to do is just rewind that a bit, just while we taxi in for the approach. All landings in real life should have an outro. Would be nice, wouldn't it, Richie? Yeah, there's going to be a replay very soon, everybody. So do stick around if you'd like to see that. Ollie's 150 miles behind. You'll get here. Thanks, Ed. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, there's that crosswind. Bit of a float. Definitely fled for a little bit too much for a little bit too long. But we made it in the touchdown zone. Thanks, John. Glad you enjoyed it. We might struggle to get a stand here. Let's just cruise along until we can find one. Is that one available? No, not really. This could be a bit tricky. Unless we're supposed to go up there. I think that's a general aviation sort of area by the looks of it. You're very welcome, Deep Future. Thank you for the likes to those of you who've done that. Really appreciate it. There's an Air 2000 parked up over there. Oh, are we in luck here? Aside from the car. Maybe it'll get out of the way. You're welcome, JV. Thanks for coming along. Yes. Car's moving. This is what we wanted. These are quite hard to turn onto, of course, being all the way back round, but they're quite nice. Yeah, a few of these are static. So as I said, this is Orbeck scenery. It's excellent. I've not seen a bad Orbeck scenery yet, really. You've got the nice tower. You've got the static aircraft in the right liveries, like Air Corsica was over there on the right, and the Volatillar. Bit of revving up to get here. Go on, car, out of the way. Easy landing, thanks. There they are. I'm so sorry to the EasyJet. I've done that so many times. And nothing to see. Right. See if we can get this line properly done. I think these seas, depending on which airplane you're in, are we lined up? Is that lined up with us? A bit more, bit more. Let's try that. Well, we're within the lines. Great. So thank you all for coming along. And let's disconnect from VATSIM. Thank you to all the colleagues who flew along. Really, really appreciate it. It's good fun to have people flying along. So we'll disconnect. There you go. So these are the Orbeck scenery statics. Let's jump into the replay. So, first of all, we'll just see the landing from the outside, of course. Rarkon says, I believe that was a Mercedes. Now this is something, again, this is where we need a Sobo to introduce a proper replay tool, because this one is great, but it's just trying to do so many things, and the simulator seems very resistant, so you get this constant don't sink noise and the elevator's up like that. Thanks, Ed. Glad you enjoyed it. And the Saxon Project, thank you for coming along. So into the flare, just a little bit high. Causing that float. Bit of adjustment, and there we go. Found the runway eventually. Beautiful graphics, beautiful livery. Thanks, it was always to Paddy who made this livery for us in Flight Simulator. Absolutely love it, as you guys well know. And I have to do the speed brakes manually, so I can control those, you see, and same with the reverses. If I don't do them, it doesn't do it in the replay. So hopefully we'll see that stuff arrive in an inbuilt one. I don't know if there's any news on that at this point, but there we go. So let's jump in. Let's see if this 2,200 feet works. It's basically a sea level airport. Feels a bit high to me. I think we might run out of music if I do 2-2. Because I'm normally a bit lower, but let's give it a go. So if we run out of music, I do apologise, but I'll leave it playing for the landing. But thank you for the suggestion, for the time, and I'm going to say thank you all for coming along and watching the stream. I really appreciate it. Had a great time. Thanks very much for the donations. Thanks to the moderators for taking the time to look after us, and of course there'll be loads of videos and live streams coming on the channel soon. I've got some more videos coming up over the next couple of weeks, which should be good fun. So hopefully you enjoy those. What we'll do then is we're going to start the outro music. Thank you for watching along at home. Thank you for joining in the chat. Yeah, absolutely loved it. So we'll see you again soon. Do keep safe and well. Have a great evening. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.